Welcome back to Kind of Funny's Star Wars in Review. That's right, we are ranking and reviewing every movie in the Star Wars cinematic universe. We just wrapped up the Terminator Cameron-verse in review. Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator Dark Fate. So you can watch all of those or listen to those however you get this show. That's a fun thing.
That was a fun one, yeah.
Yeah. But today we are talking about Star Wars. Every week we gather here, me, Andy, Kevin, Nick. Barrett's over there on the boards.
Would you call us the Jedi Council?
No.
Sure.
Cool.
Can I be the guy with the really, really tall head?
Yeah, yeah.
The one that Andy Dick played one time in like an MTV VMAs parody?
Dude. Was that a little Jack Black in it? Where it was him playing as Obi-Wan?
The guy at the end of this movie, the guy at the end of this movie that didn't keep up with his lightsaber training and just got murked by like 4.
You mean like all
clones.
of them? Oh my god.
So
many useless
That's a good.
Jedi.
Well, I mean, not they're useless.
We'll get there. You can watch this show live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. You can watch it later as a video on youtube.com/kindoffunny. You can listen to it as a podcast. Podcast services around the globe. Just search for Kinda Funny Reviews. And if Rooster Teeth's more your thing, guess what? That's an option too. If you want to help support us and make cooler and more things happen, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny to get the show ad-free, just like Patreon producer Al Tribesman did. The Predator is alone now. The Mind
I know,
Freak.
it's sad. The Mind Freak.
Wow,
leaked.
season
But
4.
shout out to the Mind
pulled
Freak, though,
the greatest
because
magic trick of all.
Well,
Disappear.
Well, here's what
I'll
I'll say at the end of season 3, that's where the Mind Freak sort of like goes into hiding and you think he's
you don't think
dead.
the Predator won?
Yeah, I think you... No, they're teammates. They weren't
Oh, are they?
fighting.
I thought they were
No,
fighting.
they were teammates.
I thought he
I
was
thought
doing
they were
magic
fighting
tricks.
also.
No.
Like a team up, but they didn't
No,
like
the
each
Mind
other.
Freak is just gone for the time being, and you think that he's dead, right? But maybe Mind Freak pops back up season 6.
I will say
Magic
shout out to the Mind Freak. When you guys were gone, I think he gave $1,500 to
Yeah.
Afterlife.
Yeah.
So good for him.
Holy crap!
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So
That
he's
was
trying to save
probably
those
it.
kids instead of my waistline.
Thank you,
Makes
Mind
a
Freak.
lot of sense. Makes
Why
a lot
is
of
he
sense.
saving
Today,
your waistline?
we are talking about Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Released on May 19th, 2005. I was a junior in high school. Where were you guys?
2005.
I was a year older, I guess.
Yeah.
You're younger, Tim.
I was also a junior in high school.
So you were a senior in high school.
Wait, this was June
Wait,
2000?
May 2005.
Did you say you were
Oh,
also in high
2005?
school?
No, you weren't a junior. I was a junior.
We were wrapping up the school year. So think about what grade did you start in 2004?
I graduated 06.
Wow, I was a sophomore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
I,
makes sense. Remember, I said you were a senior.
I was in
The
fourth.
point that I was trying to make is I remember going to the theaters like with my friends to see this one. I'd seen the previous ones with my family. This was my first Star Wars experience
Interesting.
by myself.
You know what? I didn't even see this one in theaters.
Wow.
I was like so crestfallen.
Yeah.
But then I remember my dad buying it on DVD, and it was like one of the first HD movies we saw on Blu-ray, and it was cool. I was like, wow.
I think I saw all of these at. I mean, I definitely saw all of them in theaters. I saw Phantom Menace at Edwards, the biggest screen in Southern California, which is like this giant screen in Newport Beach. And then I think that was the one I waited.
Didn't
in line
even know
for.
how the screen got there.
And then after that, I was like, I'm never camping out for another Star Wars movie ever again because this was such a.
It took
pain
you
in
to
the ass.
till this one to do
No, that was
No,
Phantom
that's
Menace,
what it
was.
and then
Sorry,
I think
yeah,
Attack of
yeah.
the Clones, and I think this one I probably saw in either Irvine Spectrum or the Block and Orange. I was like, I don't give a shit. We'll just find tickets and wait
Yeah.
in line like normal.
Let's go 2 weeks.
But I
remember
definitely
this
saw
later.
them, like, because this is all we had. We didn't have Marvel movies. It was either this or those X-Men movies with Wolverine that had a really bad wig.
Or Daredevil with Ben Affleck.
Oh God,
Or
classic.
Catwoman.
You know what a crazier thing though, thinking
her
about
face?
this is because
Halle
I
Berry.
remember leaving episode 1, being a dumb little kid. I was 9, and being just so stoked about the sequels, being like, "Oh my god, we're gonna see Anakin turn bad! Like this is so fucking exciting!"
Yeah.
And there were 3-year gaps between each of these movies. Like the way movies are made now, it's like that. Imagine if it was 3
Unheard of.
years between Marvel movies.
No.
You know,
Yeah, I
that's
know.
Well,
insane.
we got 2 years between Star Wars movies, right?
2 years.
Yeah. That's
But it
But even
wasn't
then-
supposed to
And
be.
then
Remember?
Also,
It's
not
supposed to
really
be
2 years with the
Star Wars
Rogue
every
One
year.
and
Yeah.
Solo. Like this year, kind of got messed up, but
A
like
whole 365 days extra, Kevin.
it's crazy.
I just
so
want to say I was in
confused.
4th grade when this movie came out.
Did you? And do you see it in theaters?
Oh yeah, I remember seeing it with my dad, and we were
Yeah.
both really stoked. We both really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So directed by George Lucas once again, the final one.
He nailed this one.
Budget of $113 million. Box office of $848.8 million. Runtime of 2 hours and 20 minutes. Before we get into any fun stuff, may the facts be with you. There's some cool stuff here. This one's just pretty funny. So there was a leaked work print that happened the day that the movie came out. Somebody in the industry actually leaked the movie. So do you know what I'm talking about? What a work print is?
Yeah, where
it's like,
it doesn't have the effects in it.
it's not that. It's like it's the movie, but you see the time code
Oh,
on
yeah,
it and
sure,
stuff.
sure.
So it's like it was clear that it wasn't somebody like taping it. It was like DVD quality, and like immediately it was out. And it was a big problem. They got found. They got sued, put in
Killed.
jail,
Yeah.
killed. Who the hell knows?
George
but,
Lucas cut their
Kathleen
head
Kennedy
off.
just came up, pop. That's how she
what
got
gets
there.
interesting about this
That's how
is
she got the job.
Yeah.
shortly after the above mentioned print was leaked, it was released in Shanghai as a bootleg DVD with Chinese subtitles. The reason I'm bringing this up is this has a lot of Fast and Furious, the wild chase, hyper combo, whatever vibes. The unknown producer of this DVD also chose to include English subtitles, which were in fact translated back into English from the Chinese translation rather than using the original English script. This resulted in the subtitles being heavily mistranslated, often causing unintentional humor. For example, in the opening crawl, the title is mistranslated as Star War, The Third Gathers, The Backstroke of the West.
Yep.
One error that recurs several times in the subtitles
Sounds right.
is that the phrase "it seems" was rendered as "good elephant." Jedi Council is rendered as Presbyterian Church.
Same thing.
And the mistranslation caused the word "fuck" to replace "work" 4 times in the subtitles. Darth Vader's cry of "no" is rendered as "do not want."
Which is better, I think.
Yeah, so
do
there
not
you go.
want.
Thought that was a fun one to start this off. What did we think about Revenge of the Sith? Kevin, we'll start with you.
Man, I remember being like, hey, Revenge of the Sith is the best they could do with what they had. And, maybe that's true. But I'm going to be honest, they still didn't do great. Rewatching it, I was just like, it's not great. It's not a great movie. There's a lot of really bad. I can't believe that I think so highly of Ewan McGregor. I mean, I just watched Dr. Sleep, and he's really good in it. But, like, not these movies. In none of these movies am I like, he's good. And again, that's probably the director's fault.
I think he has moments. Barrett, can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is good. This movie, for the first 2/3 of it, I was like, I don't know what the hell everyone's talking about. This is boring as shit. This might be the worst of them. But when you get to the end, I think he and, to some degree, Hayden Christensen do a fairly good job of actually having a small amount of emotion when they get to the end, when he's like, you were the best of it. Like that scene where he's standing there and they're about to square off, while terribly blocked and cheesy, and everything that leads up to that should have been so much better. They at least have a couple moments where I'm like, I kind of believe that there's actually tension here between these two people. And I think the last act of the movie is relatively fun to watch until we get to the Frankenstein part. And then I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I think this has a lot more going for it than I initially gave it credit for. That's not to say it's good.
Yeah, I'm a lot. I kind of agree with Kevin and Nick a lot. Where I remember this movie being a lot better than it was upon rewatching it. Now the later sort of the final quarter of it, maybe the last third. I won't say the last third because I feel like it just kind of happens at the very, very end. That's where it starts to pick up. But throughout most of it, like throughout a lot of the beginning scenes, which I remember being fun and cool, were just really badly done. There's a lot of awkward humor and bad pacing and terrible writing and activate the ray shields. Ray shields. Like it's all of this is so bad.
We know, like I just said it.
It's
Let's
really
say it 3 more times.
It's
Ray
really,
shield.
really, really badly done. And it wasn't until Order 66 happens that the movie starts kind of like getting, intriguing. And that I remember watching all those betrayals and being like, whoa, this is really, really cool. And it kind of hurts. It breaks your heart. And I felt the same way watching it again.
Yeah, I agree. I think that those are the moments where you're like, oh, there's actually some emotion in this.
Yeah.
And that I think they're actually fairly decently directed. Like there's a great shot where they start shooting. I don't know if it's Ahsoka or whatever the girl's name is, but
Underneath the leaf.
and then they kind of pulls back as you see all the shots go into her, but you don't see her body. I'm like, that's actually pretty cool. It's kind of sad.
I
you
had
do
always
see her
defended this
body.
movie
Yeah.
as being not that bad. And I feel like a lot of that is nostalgia, and a lot of that's just wanting to really like elements of the prequels. And rewatching it, I'm with you guys where it's like it is that bad.
It's bad.
But
this is a bad movie.
But it is a bad movie, but it is enjoyable in a way that I think 1 and 2 aren't.
I think parts of it are enjoyable. I think the last act of it is enjoyable because it's sad. and it's a tragedy rather at the end of it, similar to how you like when that weird sad feeling at the end of Empire. You almost get that here. It just sucks because going into it, you just don't give a shit about any of the characters. And I didn't realize until I watched this again, like the biggest the tragedy of it all is that they literally took Padme's character and just
Threw her into the trash.
threw her into the fucking
Not
trash.
that she had
does nothing in
Nothing.
this.
Absolutely not. Except brush her hair, brush her curls with
And get
with a brush.
choked.
Yeah,
They took
but
a character that they were trying to set up to be Princess Leia, and then throughout the next 3 movies, they just turn her into like the only thing she does is have the 2 twins. That's
yeah,
it.
and then die.
Well, I,
and
I
then
feel
die.
like in
It's
1
so
and
sad.
2, she plays a more pivotal role. It is this movie that is just like she's
That's what
just
we're
hanging
saying.
out there. Yeah, okay.
Like that's the problem.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
any character development at all is just thrown out the window because they're like, "Fuck, I guess we should finally care about Obi-Wan and Anakin's relationship because
Right.
we need to for this movie to work." But I think that this is the most enjoyable throughout. Again, it's not good, but I feel like it works more than the first 2. And the problem with that though is I think that scene for scene, there's more elements and things I like about this one than there is about 1 and 2. 1. We've talked about the pod racing. We've talked about Duel of the Fates. We've talked about just random elements that I've enjoyed. I feel like there are more things like that in this one, but none of them hit the point of being good. It's like, oh, well, I kind of like Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship. I kind of like the final battle. I kind of like Order 66. I kind of like Grievous. I kind of like, there's a lot of things that I kind of like, but none of them are actually good.
I think that the fall of the Jedi Order is good. That being said, it would have been so much better and stronger had they developed, like, had we spent a little bit more time with these characters in 1 and 2. You know?
Yeah,
Where it's like, it's tragic because we know that, like, oh, they have a, like, relationship with these people that are killing them, and, like, it comes out of nowhere. Had we actually seen that relationship, it would have hit much harder. And it's just like, that's bad storytelling when you don't think of and set that up beforehand.
I feel like just looking at the final battle with the 2 of them, it's like it's undeniably cool as a concept,
Sure.
visually, a lot of things. Going with what Nick says, a lot of really bad blocking, and like the fight is awkward as hell. But it's like when we put our own thoughts into it, we make it cooler than it actually is.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and because the problem is why, like Anakin and Obi-Wan's relationship, we don't believe it at all based on what they set up.
No.
But we are putting in what we know from A New Hope, what we know going forward, and we make it better than it is.
Like, there's one part where he screams, "We were brothers," and I was like, we didn't really see that. We
At
saw
all.
a really weird antagonistic mentor-mentee relationship that we didn't. I was watching.
Big
Go,
brother,
I don't
little
want
brother.
any part of this. I don't even want to be a part of this. fucking
Anakin
thing.
turned on Obi-Wan last movie.
Yeah.
And it's like they just kind of just move forward.
They
They
don't
start
like each
this,
other
this
very
one
much.
off, and they're like, "Oh no, now you guys are just back."
His
a
turn
weird
is
reset.
his turn is so dramatic when he literally goes from like, oh, I'm gonna shoot, like, I'm gonna cut off Mace Windu's arms, and to like, I'm gonna kill a bunch of little kids,
Yeah,
and then like, that's crazy.
yellow eyes now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So all right, let's get to the plot.
Hold on one sec. Barrett. How are we looking? We'll see. You want to take a break for a sec? I don't know if they can hear me or not. Hold on a sec, everyone.
I will give you
Just take my mic, bro.
Check. Hello. Better?
in the opening sequence when the second separatist ship is destroyed, a piece of debris flies into the clone Star Destroyer that shot it. That piece of debris is a kitchen sink. It was put there by ILM as a joke from someone saying, "We're throwing everything in the sequence, including the kitchen sink."
Interesting.
That's funny.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Do you want to give? Is there a song?
No, man.
Plot.
today, man.
Revenge of the Sith starts, of course, with the scroll "War!" exclamation mark. The Republic
Yeah.
is crumbling under the attack.
When I saw that, Nick, I went, "Oh shit!" Like,
oh no, I didn't know.
scared me.
The Republic is crumbling under attacks by the ruthless Sith Lord Count Dooku. There are heroes on both sides, is what it says.
It's a weird statement.
What does that mean?
Weird fucking statement.
FYI, there are heroes on both sides. That's like when Trump was like, "Oh, the neo-Nazis, there's heroes on."
good
Everyone's
people.
to blame on this one.
Good people,
Are
man.
there? They're just good people. They just hate the Jews. All right, and then it goes, "Evil is everywhere." All right, so there's heroes on both sides, and there's evil everywhere. Okay.
But also, all of them real good.
Yeah.
But most of them terrible.
But bad. And I understand what he was trying to do with this, right? This is in the bigger picture for me is what I think George Lucas was trying to get across, which they touched on a little bit. In
There are
future
gray
spoilers,
areas.
in The Last Jedi, which is there are gray areas. Like he was trying to build up. I think a better storyteller would have crafted it so that the Jedi weren't exactly the best thing. Like there was a murky gray area, right? But I just don't think he got that across in this. And it's especially confusing when you have literally contradicting terms in the first 3 sentences of the movie. Anyway, in a stunning move, the fiendish droid leader, no, not Newt's Gunrays, not Dooku, not Sidious, and certainly not Poggle the Lesser, General Grievous.
You remember General Grievous?
is here,
dude.
right? Has kidnapped
A
the
character
Chancellor.
introduced in a animated series that is now no longer canon.
Yeah.
A character introduced in the scroll for this movie.
Yeah.
You have to be responsible for bringing in all of your own elements into this movie to make it a good movie. Okay, if it was in a comic book, you're supposed to bring the comic book in and read it right as the previews are going,
Right.
and then watch the movie. Everyone knows that. As the Separatist armies attempts to flee, 2 Jedis lead a desperate mission to rescue the captive Chancellor. I'll give you 2 guesses as to who those 2 Jedis are. That's right. Obi-Wan and Anakin head to General Grievous' ship, and they get into it with some enemy fighters, and their entire squad is just wiped out real quick. And it doesn't matter anyway because it's played by the same actor. Literal clones that we couldn't give 10 shits about, so why bother anyway? Obi-Wan gets hit with some buzz droids, and Anakin shoots them off, but it doesn't help. Instead, he tries to smash them off of his wing, and one gets on his ship, and R2 takes care of it.
Fucking force him off. Grab him and just
Well,
fucking
they gotta give
go
R2
away.
something to do.
I don't understand that.
They blast their way. I know.
They're right there, like they're 2 feet away from him.
I know. You got the
You
force.
can't force through glass.
It's true.
No.
You push the glass.
Think about it.
They blast their way into the lead ship, and Obi-Wan has a bad feeling about it, of course. They crash land and easily take out all the droid soldiers that they encounter. They tell R2 to locate the Chancellor. He finds him on the observation platform, and they sense Dooku, and they sense a trap. And he goes, well, guess what? Let's go spring the trap then. And Anakin's like, no, that's not what that means.
Yeah.
If we spring the trap, they spring the trap on us. And he's like, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. We have an elevator to get in because
Yeah.
that's all we could do together.
Exactly. So R2 stays with the ship, of course, and they head to the observation platform where we see General Grievous and his emphysema. Obi-Wan and Anakin get trapped in the elevator. They call R2 like Luke did that one time, but R2 can't call back because he has to hide from bad guys like he did that one time. Remember those movies? This is an homage.
Do we get the General Grievous right away, or isn't it Count Dooku and then General Grievous comes in after Dooku's killed?
I don't know. I just.
Oh,
I
you
put
got
a
By the
note
way,
here
all
that
this
said
is
he was
just
there.
real bad.
Then Anakin flips out of the elevator, and R2 burns some droids alive, and then all of this entire scene should have been cut out.
But again, like like these bigger, more menacing robots. Like, what was that noise? Huh? Hey, wait, was that you? Yeah, that was nothing. Ignore
And
it.
like,
Up on
why are
there.
their English? Why
fuck
is their
this.
English
Fuck this,
so
man.
bad? Where it's like, me not worry.
Apart from providing the voice of R2-D2 and the heavy breathing of Darth Vader, which he's done since episode 4, Ben Burt provided the voices for every battle droid, super battle droid, and buzz droid in Revenge of the Sith. So, interesting.
Thank you, Ben.
The
be
Jedis
excited.
head up to the observation deck where they just find Palpatine strapped down, no one guarding him whatsoever, just by himself. And then Dooku comes in there, and I guess to spring the trap. But this time, Obi-Wan and Anakin decide we're going to do this together because last time we got fucking housed. But it doesn't matter because Anakin has this great throwaway line where he's like, you know what, though? You're not going to take me this time because since the last time we saw each other, my powers have doubled. And Anakin's like, have
yeah.
they? Like, how do you measure that, bro?
You mean
like,
Dooku.
Kevin would be like, doubled? Or the doubled?
Well, they checked his midichlorian count. It's like, oh shit, it's twice as high.
Double the pride, twice the
Anyway.
fall.
Remember the midichlorians?
Yeah, exactly. Well, they mentioned him again. They fight, and Obi-Wan gets fucking ragdolled like
all
Harry
of-
Potter when he fought the troll in Sorcerer's Stone.
All of this is kind of really weirdly done.
It's terribly done.
This
It's the
fight,
word
because what I noticed, I set my timer, and 40 seconds goes by in this fight until a music cue starts, and it's when like Obi-Wan gets pushed, and it kind of awkwardly comes in, but for 40 seconds, it's just like they're fighting, but like you would expect like, oh, this is where the intensity ratchets up, and it's just fighting for 40 seconds, and then Obi-Wan gets flown, and then it kind of starts kind of popping in here.
What's
and there.
crazy is like we'll have to do this together, and like 40 seconds later, Obi-Wan's out of commission, fucking things on him. It's like,
Dude, and
great.
that thing on him, that would
That
have
should have
broke him
crushed
in
him.
half.
Yeah, should have
Like,
definitely.
That looked so much more visceral than it ended up being. Like in CG, they throw him down, the thing goes on him and kind of like against the floor.
Midi-chlorians
And
got
then
a
later
lot
it
of
cuts back and it's just a thing on him.
You got a lot of calcium in your bones, real strong bones.
And then Anakin's powers doubled, so he pretty much has no trouble taking Lord Dooku's lightsaber from him and gets him kneeling on the ground. And then he has the two things there. And then Sidious is like, do it. Do it. And he's like, really?
Shout outs to the way he like
I love
removed both his
this
hands
bit.
at once. That was
The
fucking rad.
choreography of that and like getting him in the position. It's a perfect example of what I was saying earlier of everything that's good is just not quite good enough.
Well, the problem is this. This scene should have led us into the third act of this movie. This should have been the last thing he did to finish his transition as the apprentice to the Dark Lord, right? But it's not. It's the fucking first thing that
I
happens
liked
in
it
this
being
movie.
in the beginning.
I also
It's
like
terrible.
It,
It should have literally been like he's killing the guy whose job he's taking. It should have been his final thing he had to do to transform. Like that should have been the last bit of humanity he had left because he fucking decapitates a guy. And
Yeah,
the problem is once you do that, you are no longer a sympathetic character to the audience, right? He's one of the main characters. We're supposed to believe that we're still like he's still struggling. He just decapitated a guy for no fucking reason.
But, I mean,
he also cut his hands off beforehand.
I feel like he did have a reason in the sense that like, and it's funny because like I feel like this is actually a cool moment where Sidious kind of changes the narrative where he's like he's too dangerous to just keep alive. Like you need to kill him because we got to get the fuck out of here, right? Like that. I feel like that's why he killed him. And then afterwards, Sidious is like, "You killed him for revenge," and it's like that's not why he killed him. He killed him because like they need to get the fuck out of here and they got to make sure he's dead.
So there's something interesting there about the revenge bit is in the battle duel with Dooku, the imprisoned Palpatine originally had more dialogue, which he was to shout at Anakin. One of his lines pertained to Episode 2, in which Palpatine exposed Dooku as paying the Tusken Raiders to kidnap, torture, and kill Anakin's mom, which brings in the revenge part, but
Interesting.
wasn't in the movie.
Well, the revenge part I assumed was him cutting off his arm or hand.
But it's just, it's all really sad because they've taken Dooku, who could have been a cool character, and they've taken Darth Maul, who could have been a cool character, and instead of making them actual, like, strong antagonists for, like, to bounce off of the protagonist and had some fun stuff there, they're just fodder. Everyone's just fodder. Grievous, fodder.
They're so recyclable.
And it sucks because there's such a thin line between a good bad guy and just a generic person, and Lucas didn't even give a shit. He was just like, we're gonna sell this toy. It's
Well,
gonna be
with
great.
the exception of Darth Vader in this series, I feel like that's what happens to all the bad guys.
It's sad.
Yeah, including Tarkin, where it's just like.
But I would say, like, in future spoilers, right?
Well,
but like, we've got some other characters coming up that I think are actually like slightly more
Debatably
complex.
the best, I would
yeah,
say.
and I think it's kind of cool to see that gray area and win those. But we can keep going, ladies and gentlemen. They fight. Anakin has a lot of hate, which is cool, and he cuts and we kill
Double the hate.
He's all about that hate.
Double
And
hate,
then
double the fun.
Palpatine has a great moment in here where they really should have cut out, but they cut over to him. He's like, yeah, like it's like he's jacking off to a sports game.
Dude,
You know?
that was fucking weird.
I hate
But when,
that.
when he
I
was
like
first
it.
in the room and like shit's getting like he's being protected by the Jedi. I guess it's right after this. But he's just,
that's what I'm talking about.
he's like,
I like him getting into it, and being like,
hated
"Oh,
it.
look at them, they're helping me, yeah."
Whatever.
Get him.
Anyway, Palpatine tells Anakin they don't have time to save Obi-Wan, and Anakin's
Yeah.
like, why? There's literally, it's quiet in here. There's nothing happening.
good.
There is no tension whatsoever in this scene. It's not like we're seeing the shit outside. It's just, he's like, we don't have time for that. He's like, I think we do.
Yeah.
And we have time to get lunch, too. There's fucking nothing happened. We just killed everyone. We're fine. We could literally radio, but like, we killed them. We're done. It's cool. It don't matter. Anyway.
I think they do cut to the outside, and the ship is like literally falling
CG
into
garbage.
the earth.
No,
The
they have
cyclone
to
of CG.
fight. They have to fight Grievous first, I think. Palpatine tells Anakin they don't have time, but Obi-Wan, because the ship is under attack or something, and it doesn't matter. The ship loses gravity. Wait, they fought Grievous in here somewhere, didn't they?
Yeah, they
Oh, they're about to. That's
yeah,
right.
And he's
because
all
they're going
coffee.
to like the upper part.
Oh, that's right. The ship loses gravity and they fall down an elevator shaft, but thankfully they have their grappling hook, so they're fine. They get caught in the ray shields, which they say like 15 times, so you know they're ray shields, which is so good because remember all the ray shields from
Yeah.
Never? They've never fucking said these before.
Yeah.
So luckily the ray
They're in
shields are there.
hallway 8, whatever. Activate the ray shields.
And then
Ray shields. It's so like.
But it's funny that
how
they weren't like,
how.
could we cut our way out or like cut the ground?
And then Obi-Wan goes, we're smarter than this. How did this happen to us? Like, it's such a stupid fucking moment, man. But it's so
Yeah.
bad.
They're brought to Grievous on the bridge, and it looks like they're really going to get it this time, but they have no problem escaping with relative ease. And another lightsaber battle ensues, and it's fun and goofy, because who doesn't want tension or any tension in their scenes? It doesn't matter. Outnumbered, General Grievous decides, fuck it. I'm just going to blow out a window and jettison myself into space.
That was true.
I thought it was cool until you realize you're like, wait a minute, he has emphysema, which means he has real lungs, which means how the fuck is he existing in the vacuum of space?
You gotta imagine he's got a little air compartment somewhere that
He
like holds
doesn't,
compressed
because
air.
literally later we just see him pry open the little shell of a fucking armor
Sure.
and see his exposed lungs there.
And his dick. Like just
his fat lip dick. And you're like, can you get that thing up anymore? He's like,
uncircumcised.
I haven't been able to.
Oh, already.
So
Wow.
early.
Wow.
So
It's been a while.
early.
Missed
It
you.
has
Missed you on the
been a
last couple of
while.
these.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, yeah, watch out for the lights in your hair.
It's been a long time. Oh, man, he comes to me. It's been a-
Kevin, your hair's so short, your face so smooth, eh?
Please. Why are your hands so cold?
Like a young Annie.
My nipples are so hard right now. So
Thanks,
cold.
Watto.
Nah, I didn't want to be on the last 2 shows because I'm in the movie, eh?
Oh, you were busy in the movies, so you weren't here.
But Watto,
Yeah.
you filmed that
Yeah.
movie over 2 decades ago.
Nah, see, Watto, he believe in democracy, eh? You don't, you
yes.
you can't.
As a slave owner, democracy is the most important thing to Watto, I can imagine.
You
can't watch.
campaign outside,
You got me.
right?
You got me on that one.
I want a fair vote for episode 1 and 2, eh? So you tell me.
What?
You tell me anyway. Where episode 1 and 2 in the rankings? 1, 2?
Yeah, they're
2
way,
or 3?
they're way up there. What?
They're at least top 5. They're top 5.
Way up there.
They're in the top 5.
Whoa.
You got the rankings up right now.
Bottom of the list, eh?
Yeah.
It sure is.
No, you put me in the movie. You put me in the bottom of the list.
Yeah.
They're way down there, Watto. Sorry, man.
Sorry, man.
The progression. He's a small boy. He's a big boy.
Yeah.
Character.
Character.
Small pumpkin to big pumpkin.
Kill all the people. She still wanna fuck that fool, eh?
Yeah, she has no scruples whatsoever in this
What
movie.
do you kids want in your movies these days? I don't know.
What's crazy
Thanks,
is
Watto.
This is offensive to me.
yeah.
No matter how small I get, I never forget this. Eh?
Okay. Oh, alluded. A little
Yeah.
foreshadowing right there.
What's the minimal
Watch it.
amount
No
of
future spoilers.
How small can you get, Watto? Do we know? Or are we not ready?
You'll see when you least expect it.
When I least expected, I'll
God, the
see.
math sucks.
What's funny is he's been on the show what 3 times now?
5?
I
I don't
just
know.
realized that when I'm looking him in the eyes, I'm looking in the mask size.
Yeah.
Have you
His eyes are
noticed? Have
just
you
a little
noticed
below it.
his eyes a lot of the time closed because
Yeah.
of where the
'Cause he
actual
can't.
eyes went?
Yeah.
It's so disturbing
He's using the
to
force
hear that
to
voice
see.
with his eyes closed.
Also, quick question: Am I crazy, or does Watto have a bat symbol shaved into his chest?
Really interesting.
Really crazy. You're mixing a lot of things
Speaking of
there.
General Grievous here, Gary Oldman had agreed to be the voice of General
would've been
Grievous,
amazing.
but pulled out of the film because it was being made using actors who are not part of the Screen Actors Guild, of which Oldman's a member, so he can't do it. The role was read by Duncan Young on set and finally voiced by Matthew Wood, who, being a Lucasfilm employee, submitted his reading under the name of Alan Smithy.
Smithy.
Carboni told us a little facts about that. How like he had to do all the voices without effects, or he did them with effects, and they're like, "Oh, cool, now do them without all the different like voice modulation shit." So what like apparently he could do a perfect Grievous without any of like the weird modulation on his I don't know voice box.
The
Do
perfect
you like how
grief.
much he coughed?
Coughed a lot, huh?
Yeah.
There's some albuterol or something.
Yeah,
got a little phlegm.
I thought it gave it a character. You know?
Yeah, no, I'm with that.
This weird robot monster man coughs.
At this point, we're accepting. Seriously. At this point, we're accepting a robot that coughs as character. Like,
yeah.
Because he was like this. He was like, he's not interesting enough. What should we do? And the writer was like, I don't know, maybe introduce him 2 films ago, write a really intricate backstory, give him some really good motivations for why he's
That's
doing
what
what
it's
he's
like.
doing.
We don't have
Put
time
him
for that.
directly at odds, diametrically opposed to the main character, but actually make him a sympathetic bad guy too. What about a cough? Yeah, we'll go with the cough.
We'll go
Let's
with
just
the
go with the
cough.
cough. How about that? That makes sense. Outnumbered, Grievous decides to blow himself out the window, and that's actually kind of a cool scene. And then half the ship breaks apart, but it's okay. We've got the other half. And instead of getting out of there in a fun sequence where they could have like escaped again, they just kind of easily pilot the rest of the ship down to to Coruscant.
And he's a really good pilot.
I really
And
love
he's
this.
the best pilot.
I really love this one line that I had to write down just because the voice actor was so weird. It was like one of the Viceroy looking dudes.
The gun race.
Yeah, where it's like they're like in a green and he's like, "Oh, batteries, fire, fire!" And it's like, how? Like, who voiced this?
What did he say?
No, he says, well, he has two different lines. One of them he goes, "Oh, batteries, fire, fire!" Another one he goes, "Magnetize, magnetize."
Oh, yeah.
but
I
like,
remember these moments.
Why that voice? I don't get it, man.
But wasn't this also one of those lines where it's like someone? And then the droid's like magnetize.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, cool.
Jesus Christ.
What did that do? I don't know. See, R2D2 got covered in like droids, right?
I don't know,
It's like
man.
cool.
Later on, they deliver Palpatine back to the Senate, safe and sound. And Obi-Wan and Anakin's like, we should go with him. And Obi-Wan's like, no, you know what? You should take the credit for this one. You were the one that saved us. You should go with the politicians and take all the accolades for this. And then Anakin goes, wait a minute. I thought we were Jedi Knights. Why, a Jedi craves not these things, right? And Anakin's like, and Obi-Wan's like, I don't know. I don't know what our core tenets are. Are we trying to get fame and fortune with politicians?
I think it was
Or
Obi-Wan.
what?
Obi-Wan's just like, yo, you just fucking decapitated this dude. Like,
I wanna
hey.
wash my hands clean of
Yeah,
this.
like this is all
But like that
you.
again, another moment where that could have been a fun like a conflict moment where he's like, I'm gonna go with these, and he should have stopped his Padawan and been like, no, you don't go. We don't do this for the glory. We do this because this is the right thing. We're Jedi. But he goes, you should go with them and get all the accolades. He literally says that. You should go. It's you deserve all the credit.
I thought they were.
Cold.
I'm a cold. I do.
You
too
and
much
Greg,
caffeine.
what is wrong with you guys? Your hands are freezing.
What's up, Barrett?
The vibe that I got is that neither of them want to do that. Like the vibe that I'm getting is like, oh, you go on and do that because this shit's dumb. And then Anakin's like, well
I felt
wait,
like
but
Anakin
why?
liked
Hold
it.
on. He was
Yeah.
like,
Right.
what the fuck? And it was just like,
The vibe I got was that like Obi-Wan kind of like is always giving Anakin a hard time, but finally like this was one of those moments where he's like, you know what, bro, this one's for you. You got, I'll stay back. I saw it more of like a.
Oh,
you know,
I
hey,
could-
you get this time you get the gift card to Starbucks.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want it. This
But again,
time.
in a civilization or like a setting, the Jedi are like these priests who are not allowed to have like relationships
Presbyterian
or any of
church.
these things. Why would they be allowed to get a gift, like receive gifts? You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway,
Receive gifts.
we get some throwaway lines here about how the war is still going on and Grievous is still out there. As long as Grievous is still out there, you're like, great, thanks for telling us. And then Padme is literally waiting in the shadows, and no one can feel her, especially Obi-Wan. He doesn't know she's there.
Hey man, we are secret marriage. Let's make out in public.
Yep.
She is like, fucking not here, dude. And he's like, I don't give a fuck. I just killed a man. And it feels real good.
I'm fucking horny.
I got
right now.
double the horniness right now, man.
I could have just stabbed him in the chest, but I cut his head off. And then we didn't show this, but we kicked it around a little bit.
So he was like, "Hey, what are you doing here? Like, we got to be real careful about this." No, all right. And then he like weirdly, they both kind of slip into an English accent for a second there, and then they kind of come out of it. And I was like, maybe Carrie Fisher was right. Maybe it's just impossible to say this impossibly bad dialogue without speaking in a old English accent. I don't know.
Make
and
it
then
sound better.
he's like, listen, we got to tell people about this. She's like, no, we still got to keep it. Or he's like, we got to keep it secret. She's like, we're gonna have to tell someone soon because I'm pregnant. And he goes, oh. That's great.
He reacts
No,
so poorly.
no, he doesn't go, oh, that's great. He goes,
He goes,
oh. Wait. It's good.
Yeah. And then she goes, I don't know what we're going to do about this huge thing that could literally put us in prison. And he goes, you know what we should do? Nothing. Let's just let it
worry
lie.
about it later.
We'll
It
just
really
worry about it
doesn't
later.
matter.
Kevin, I was expecting him to go.
Like, look over there. The lightsaber floats up this way. Fucking
But
snogs
also,
her or whatever.
To,
her.
to be fair, it wouldn't get them in prison. She might lose her job as a senator.
Right. And she says
he-
that.
Yeah.
And you're
he
like,
would get kicked out.
what fucking patriarchy runs the entire galaxy? Where if you're pregnant, you can't be a senator
out, dude, you're
anymore?
out.
First off,
No, I think it's more of that
Fucking a
she's
Jedi.
also involved in this Jedi thing,
Jedi
and that's
fucking.
also like that's against rules.
I
and
get
shit
that,
like
it's like
but,
banging your
that's
coworker.
against the Jedi's rules.
Right.
It's not against her planetary rules, where she's like, oh my God, if I'm caught pregnant, they'll kick me out of the Senate. I'm like, are women like enslaved in this? And I didn't even know it the entire time. The way they set her character up is so 1940s that it's fucking ridiculous. Anyway, I digress. Let's
But
go back
at
to
that
this.
point, I feel like Anakin should have been like, you know what? Fuck the Jedi Order.
Yeah, fuck them. I don't like these
and
guys.
like, you'll stay a senator, and I'll be your little guard, and we'll be all set. You know, it would
Done.
have been so easy.
And together we'll rule the galaxy because you'll be president, and I'll be like the guy behind you. And anyone that fucks with you, I sneak into their room, slash.
Yeah.
Slash.
I'll put some worms, some slugs in their room.
Nitsubaba Nubaba Soba. What is it?
Mitasha Joe Pasa Slimo.
There it is. Grievous lands on a planet and gets a message from Sidious that the war is almost over, and he's getting a new apprentice that's younger and hotter than Grievous.
So okay,
Dooku.
here's the
younger
thing.
and hotter. And
We
Grievous
don't
is all
have too
like-
much Jedi stuff to go off in these movies, even though this is now the third one of this. But what we do know is the Jedi are like, oh man, Anakin's too young to train.
Right.
He's too young. He's too
Too
young.
old.
And he's too old. And now it's like, we got a young guy. That's a good thing. Sure, the Sith might have different rules, but that's pretty fucking weird when I just feel like it contradicts the only logic they have about how this works.
No, I buy the Sith because the Sith take people and corrupt them. So that doesn't matter what age they are. Remember, because he took Dooku and was like,
Who's old.
you just corrupt him with the dark side. That makes sense to me. That you can penetrate anyone with the dark side at any age.
I don't like it.
You
But then
just have
why
to,
does
like-
being young matter? Like it just
because he just says he's younger and more powerful, so he's going to be here for a lot longer. As opposed to Dooku, who is an 87-year-old man with a saber that's like, when the dick starts to curve the wrong way, that's a sure sign that the elephant's going to die.
I didn't know that.
No.
Is that
Let's
a-
just
is
drop
that-
it. Let's just drop it. Let's just drop it.
Okay.
Let's move on.
I can't believe I said that on camera.
Why
gonna
did
keep
why did
looking at
Dooku
us.
not have a Darth name?
He did. He was
does.
Darth
Darth
Tyrannus.
Tyrannus.
Oh,
but
you're
no one
right.
called him that because it was super confusing from the last film. Anyway, my new apprentice is going to be there soon, and he's younger and hotter. And Grievous is all like, man, Talos all the time,
His chest
Trading
is
up to someone
gorgeous.
half your age might make you feel younger, but it won't stop you from being thrown down a massive shaft. Just FYI.
So, sorry, going off the old young thing, something that I it might have been cleared up somewhere and I missed it. Why does he not have his little rat tail anymore?
I think he lost it in would he not have it?
I don't know.
Anakin didn't have it.
Well, the,
On the show.
reason that he had it is no longer canon.
Wait, really?
Where it was the 2D show where he gets to cut it off. Yeah, because
No, well,
he's-
that's the reason he cuts it off.
You're talking about the rat tail, right?
Yeah, but the rat's tail I think is still canon
braid
that
or
like
whatever.
Jedis grow it out as they're trading.
Anyway, we get another fun scene on the balcony where Padme is pretty because she's so in love with Anakin and something, and Anakin is blinded by love, and that scene is useless and stupid. That night, Anakin has a dream.
Dude, not only is that scene fucking useless, it's her standing there talking to him, and what do they talk about? They could talk about anything. Oh, of course they talk about their time on Naboo that one time. Because these movies can only remember the thing that just happened in the last movie. Doesn't matter if 3 years pass, 10 years pass, whatever. It's like, Anakin, hey, remember the one thing we
I
did
want to go
together?
back to when we were happy. It was like, were you? It was like a month.
There is rarely
Well,
like a
maybe
really
a week.
cool anecdote that a character tells. Like for example, I'm watching Watchmen on HBO, and every 20 minutes there's like a really cool well, there's this one story about blah, 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 and it's like really cool, and it's like, wow, this is really well written, and it's making me think of oh, what are the parallels here? None of that ever happens in these movies. Like, it's always so surface level. you
Well,
know?
I mean, you're talking about the last episode of Watchmen where she tells the joke and it's directly related to the things that happen in the
bad.
comic book.
Nobody-
And then I watched an episode of BoJack Horseman where they tell that exact same joke, and I was like, what the fuck? What reality am I living in? It was weird.
Whoa.
I literally watched it a day later, and I was like, did she just tell the exact same joke? But the same concept of
I
the
haven't
joke?
watched the latest episode.
Where they throw
Excuse
something
me.
out. Oh my god. Anyway.
Really quick, the
was a
them
trip.
cutting off their rat tails is a sign of them gaining knighthood. He wasn't a knight in the last one, but now he is.
Yeah, he's not a master though.
Right.
Yeah.
By the
so he
way,
can't
I
be on
really
there.
regret
Which
not
means-
leaving Kevin a little
really
rat
happy
tail.
we didn't.
Do you guys remember
really
in the
have it in.
beginning of Attack of the Clones where we start with this really exciting scene where he has to do the Jedi trials? We finally get to see those for the
Remember
first
that
time.
scene? It was so
and he
cool.
fails the first one, and right for the third act where he has to go into and beat the guy, he finally figures out what he needs to do to master the Jedi trials, becomes a master, and then kills Count
I
Dooku.
think you're talking about Spider-Verse.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm doing.
Good
Or
movie.
any good movie that
Yeah.
is well written. All right, let's see. That night, Anakin has a dream that Padme will die in childbirth, and then he gets up, and I'll tell you one thing right now. For as much shit as I have given Hayden Christensen,
Rank them abs, baby.
Were they born in labs? Now it's time to rank those abs.
ladies and gentlemen, we have a new first place here for Star Wars. Hayden Christensen looked
First
good at this
place?
movie.
Really good. Yeah.
I think I'm in
dude,
first
they were
place.
great.
Really?
When
I
he
think he
walks
looks-
out with
last
the robe,
last
like,
week,
It was Natalie Portman.
it's Natalie Portman. You think it's better than
I
Natalie
think these
Portman
are
in
better.
episode
I mean,
two?
first off, we're seeing more of him here, so we're getting a full picture of what he looks like. But what I like about it is he's got the chest, the definition of
He
the
did have a
pecs,
good chest.
Yeah.
which is nice. And he got up. He had the 80s sort of Stallone abs where they weren't perfectly defined because he wasn't like the steroids weren't quite as good back then as they are now. I'm gonna give it to him, man. He looked good. And he's sexy.
Looked
Sexy
damn
with the
good,
open
yeah.
I'll
robe.
put him at number 2, but okay.
You want to go number 2?
I think
I
so,
think
man.
he goes number 1. That
Because
scene,
Natalie Portman,
Who
the thing is,
here-
we
let's-
see her abs in about 15 different scenes
Yeah.
and 15 different outfits, and they're stunning in every single one.
All right, who
it's
here
not
thinks-
one shot.
Who here thinks that they should be number 2? Raise your hands.
I feel like it was
he
a
should
little.
be number 2.
He should be number 2. Raise your hands. Who here thinks he should be number 1?
I think he's number 1.
hell yeah,
There it
number
is,
1
ladies
takes
and
it.
gentlemen. There you go.
Even
There it
Barrett's
is.
in on number 1.
Anyway, Anakin tells Padme about the dream he had about her dying in childbirth, and the baby will change their lives. The Queen will probably not allow her to go on in the Senate because apparently children in full-time jobs don't work in the Star Wars universe, even though you have like 10 droid nannies that you could easily help. I mean, the kid could just be taken care of.
She's oddly cool with all this, too, especially given the fact that in the last movie, he had a dream, and then she died.
Yeah.
The mom.
The mom.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you should be like, oh, fuck, I'm going to die.
Later that night, Anakin seeks the counsel of Yoda, who attempts to warn him that he needs to let go of everything he fears losing. But Anakin won't let go of this because the dream could come true. And he's like, I'm not letting go of this. And that's actually kind of a cool scene where he's like, you need to just like, you can't control everything, and your need to control everything will eventually be your downfall. It'll eventually lead you to the dark side. So don't do that. And Anakin's like, yeah, but like that's cool for like someone like keyed my car. But this is my wife and my child's life at stake. So I think maybe I should obsess about this, right? And Yoda's like,
I mean, that's the
don't
whole,
know.
like, had
I
it
don't
not
know,
been
man.
out of context. Because, like, Yoda's like, oh, like, I imagine Yoda sitting there being like, oh, shit, Obi-Wan's going to die, you know? Because, like, otherwise, who means a lot to him?
Padme, because everyone knows they're banging.
But they don't.
Then Yoda's terrible at
Yeah,
his job.
honestly, they're all real bad.
Yoda can feel a Jedi dying from Kashyyyk, and he's like, oh, someone just died, but he can't figure out when the 22-year-old's horny for the other 22-year-old in the next room. It's like, you're fucking bad at your job, dude. You guys deserve to get
Also, he
dethroned.
should have known that they decapitated Dooku. Like, I feel like that should have been.
Why
a bigger
wasn't that a
point.
thing?
Yeah.
Wait, you decapitated him, dude? You didn't take him
Why?
prisoner?
Well, I cut his hands off first. Okay, so you still cut his head off.
Yeah.
He was defenseless. That's very against what we are and what we do.
The
Also,
old guy told me to do it.
But also, we're getting these weird stories from Tatooine that a guy with a fucking lightsaber just murked all these sand people. Do you know anything about that? No. It was like a mile from your uncle's place. I don't know what you're talking about. It's crazy. But like, and it's like, didn't
he
you bury
feel
your
that?
mom?
Didn't he feel it? Isn't there a shot where like he's killing all the sand people? We hear Qui-Gon Jinn, and then it cuts to Yoda going,
Yeah. Yoda just keeps feeling things, but he's like, you know, it's like,
I got a heartburn.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me a lot of when, and I'll say it, man, when Gandalf dropped the ball, where he's like, you know what? I should have gone to look for that ring, but I did the worst thing possible. I just let it go, and it was sad.
What's that?
And I'd rather watch that series.
no, you wouldn't.
Yes, I would. Oh my god, I would. At least they get to eat, and it's fun, and they sing a lot. The next scene,
So much.
let's see. We get another scene where Obi-Wan tells Anakin. Oh wait, well, hold on. Where'd I go here? Okay. We get another scene where Obi-Wan tells Anakin that the Senate is giving the Chancellor more executive power. Also, he's scared of Palpatine. The next scene, Chancellor Palpatine tells Anakin he's going to put Anakin on the Jedi Council as a representative against the better wishes of the Council. But Anakin is taken aback. The Council elects its own members. They'll never go for this. Later that day, Mace Windu tells Anakin he can be on the Council, but they won't give him the rank of Master. And Anakin, despite knowing all of this ahead of time, loses his shit on them.
To the council. It's like, be cool.
The
You
scene
know-
right before this, he was like, this is not what they normally do. I can't be on this. They have to. And he's like, don't worry, guys. He's like, I'm not comfortable with this. And the next scene, he's like, oh, I really want this. Like, and then he loses his shit. Like,
But
dude, what the fuck?
I think he's losing his shit that he's not going to be called a master, but he's going to be on the council.
I get that, but he
And-
also knows that that this is the process for this.
Yeah.
So it's like if you go and like, it's like you want to be a general in the army, and they're like, you got to sign up first and like go through basic training and like
Why
work. He's
double
like,
the
what?
training?
I'm
What?
pretty
No!
sure if the
I'll be a
president
general.
comes up and just be like, he's 2-star general, I think he can do that.
Not if you force your way into the cabinet and the president's like, I don't want you here. You know what I mean? Like,
Well,
why would
I'm
they?
saying-
Why would they promote you if you know they don't want you
But
there?
what I'm saying is the president is like an analogous to
Chancellor.
the chancellor,
Fair,
right?
fair.
Also, I actually like this moment because like we do get to see Sidious be like, nah, you don't understand. They're gonna need you to spy on me, so they're gonna put you in there. It's like that's cool that he's playing that game.
They have a quick meeting, real quick, for no reason, and decide that Yoda will go help the Wookiees because we haven't seen them yet. And remember the Wookiees?
That's what
from
it
that one
is.
time.
We haven't seen them yet.
Yep, we haven't seen the Wookiees.
Not just the Wookiees.
We are
Chewbacca
told
himself.
there is a war on Kashyyyk, which is the Wookiee home planet,
And there's 3 Ys. It's super cool.
and there is 3 Ys.
I
which
love
is
You love
weird.
them subtitles,
I
don't
love
you?
it. I love
and
it.
and that's super pertinent because Kashyyyk is a major pivotal fulcrum strong point for the entire galaxy, or not. We don't know. We
Yeah.
don't
It
know.
It is very weird.
I mean,
why
it's
the
just-
Wookiees are so important at all.
I
The
do-
executives
I-
called in and they're like, "Hey, we haven't seen Chewbacca and all his friends. Where are they at?"
But it's one of those things where it's like, again, I know we lament about this, but why are there only 5 people in this entire galaxy who are pivotal to everything that's happening? Why does Chewbacca need to be in this at all? Like, how did he go from being a general on Kashyyyk to being in the fucking like the
We
butt
saw it,
buddy
dude.
for Han
Is there-
Solo?
is there a moment where they say he's like a prince?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyway, let's go back to it. Sorry.
What were you watching?
He's like, oh, I'm sorry, I was watching Purple Rain.
Oh, Prince Chewbacca.
Are you thinking about the holiday special, maybe?
Obi-Wan gives Anakin
man.
shit for being buddies with Palpatine and then tells him that the Council wants him to spy on Palpatine. He's been in power far too beyond his term limit, so they want... he's like, so you want me to go against the Jedi values and commit treason? Again, what are the values here of the Jedi? Why would they do this repetitiously?
Whatever's
Who the hell
convenient
knows?
for the plot.
Obi-Wan tells Mace, Windu, and Yoda that Anakin is going to spy on Palpatine, but he's kind of hesitant, and everyone agrees that putting them together is a really, really bad idea, but they do it anyway because of the prophecy. And then Yoda drops a bombshell. He says, a prophecy that could have been misread.
Whoa.
It's a
Whoa,
lot
okay.
of
What?
lot of time being invested in this prophecy,
And everyone's
and
like...
everyone seems to believe it.
Yeah, everyone's like this, wait a minute, what are you talking about? Is this going to change the course of this entire movie? And Yoda's like, yeah, it is. And then everyone goes, okay.
Oh, shit.
Cool.
Yeah.
We should worry about
We
this.
should probably
Let's
worry
get
about
to
this. right?
Kashyyyk.
Yeah, let's just go. You know what, though? The prophecy is not something you can put in a package and sell to kids. You know what it is? Wookiees.
They're
That's
furry.
why it's more fun. Yeah, I don't know. They based a lot of decisions off this prophecy. This seems like it could have been a bigger bombshell than it should have been. Anyway, then Padme and Anakin hang out again, and Anakin questions the Jedi Order's direction, and Padme questions whether or not the Senate has turned bad. And we're once again 45 minutes into this movie with only one action scene has happened, and that scene was boring. Padme asks Anakin to
wasn't
use his
boring. It was
relationship
cool.
with Palpatine to open negotiations with the Separatists instead of keeping the fighting going, and Anakin doesn't want any part of it. Then Padme just wants to be held. Instead of any sort of conflict resolution here, she's just like, I'm scared. I just want to be held.
I
I'm
also-
a dumb broad. I'm a dumb broad who's got pregnancy brain, and I can't work anymore.
I also think this is a cool moment.
It's
in
like,
the sense
what the
that
fuck?
Anakin's like, man, everyone is just trying to use me. Like, Sidious wants to use me to find out what's going on with the Jedi Council. Jedi Council's trying to figure out what's happening to Sidious. Now I'm coming home, and my wife is trying to use me to manipulate the Sidious again.
It's one of those things where, like,
Ugh.
this, we talked before, but it's like there's a lot of complex stuff being explored here, but it's just being
Not
explored in
explored
the
well.
absolute wrong
Not
way.
in an intelligent way.
And the way they're exploring it, and this is why this movie really just fundamentally breaks down for me, is that there's like 10 scenes back to back where it's just 2 people telling the audience what's happening with the plot. And it's so convolutedly complex and also so boring that you just your mind just goes blank.
Yeah.
There is literally back sequences where Anakin just says, I'm really not happy with what's going on with the Jedi. And everyone's like, we fucking get it, bro. But you ever have that friend that just complains about their girlfriend over and over again? You're like, then break up with her. Like, just and no one's like, just go. You don't have to be a fucking Jedi. Then what do they have? Are you like under contract with these guys? Is there an NDA we don't know about here? It's like that fucking Death Stranding NDA. Anyway, all right.
Embargo.
Whatever. Anakin meets up with Palpatine, who tells him they've discovered the location of Grievous. Then they talk about the Jedi Council wanting to betray Palpatine and take control of the Republic. Anakin admits to being asked to spy on Palpatine. He's like, I don't know what you want me to say here, buddy. And Palpatine's like, maybe I chose wrong here. Like, if you're gonna give up your people that easily, maybe you're not the best.
That was pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but I feel like that was the reason.
Also, what was that
he
show
picked
they were
him.
watching? Looked cool.
It did look cool.
Oh, the like play
The
thing?
floating water shit. It looked like Blitzball.
I think it's
There
Cirque
was
du Soleil
Blitzball,
water.
yeah. Blitzball opera.
Cirque du Soleil water.
They talk about the differences between the Sith and the Jedi, and it turns out there's actually not really that many of them.
Have you
Both
ever
sides
heard
are
the tale
pretty
of dark
super selfish
places?
and really scared of losing power. Then Palpatine tells Anakin about Darth Plagueis, the Wise, who could save people from death. He became so powerful that the only thing he was afraid of was losing his power, which he did. How? I don't know. He just says which he did.
You get killed in his
Killed.
sleep?
Yeah. But okay. I guess that makes sense.
By his
So he
apprentice.
was
apprentice.
So he
Thanks.
was killed in his sleep by his apprentice.
Do we just assume that's Sidious, right?
Yeah.
That's
I assume
Sidious,
so.
Yeah.
And instead of asking any questions, Anakin just wants in. Man, that sounds great. Sign me.
Stop death.
This all sounds like upside.
That's
to
the
me.
one thing I've been trying to do.
Right.
So this is a weird thing for me where I actually love this scene just because it's cool and I feel
Yeah.
like it does deepen the lore and like it gives some context to the
It reminds
Sith
me a
at
lot
all.
of like Deathly Hallows when when those stories are being told.
Oh,
Hallows,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like this is really fucking cool. I wish it was built up a bit more. The problem that I have with it though is that it makes absolutely no sense when we look at the entire rise of power that Palpatine has. Like that's the point of these prequels in the broad sense, not just in the Anakin turns bad, right? It's like Palpatine's rise to power. I feel like we give him way too much credit for being a master puppeteer when it's like, damn, this whole death thing seems weirdly convenient. That literally the one thing that could turn Anakin bad is the one power that you have, that the Sith have over the Jedi.
But that's
Well-
the thing, unless you think that all of it has been orchestrated.
But we have no reason to believe that's the case.
Deleted scene. Deleted scene makes it clear that, like, the one you were talking about where it's
kills
Count.
That kills
Count
mom.
Dooku- yeah.
That's just make him angry.
Well,
but
also-
the whole like thing about like, you can't
also
make her
afraid
get
of
pregnant. You get what I'm
No,
saying?
but I think that this was to me. I read this because later he goes, he asks him again, and he goes, "I actually don't know how to do it, but together we'll figure it out."
yeah.
And I don't think he knows how to do it.
Palpatine
No.
walked in and like cut holes in the condoms.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like
she's gonna-
No,
I
but
get
like
I
he
get the-
set up the relationship, right? Like he pushed for her to
He knew
have
they
a
were gonna
guard.
bang it out.
He pushed for her to have a guard, and it happened to be what's his face, because the other guy was going for a more important thing. Do they only have 2 Jedis to do it? I don't know, but like he actually even pushed for it to be Anakin in the second movie. He was like, I'm gonna recommend Anakin because you guys have a relationship, you guys know each other, right? So like I think he has been orchestrating all these things.
that's totally cool. Orchestrating, hey, I'm gonna put these two people together. They're gonna fuck. They're gonna have a baby. She's gonna die in childbirth. That is a plan that you cannot
But,
solve.
but here's the thing: what if he was pushing?
Forget everything you know. You're
Yeah, I
right.
mean
You're right.
that's where we get to, and it's like he very well could be like it. Maybe it isn't that he was having visions as much as like later we see characters push visions on people, right?
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of these similar things sort of happen throughout a lot of movies, even the rest of the Star Wars universe, but they're more acceptable because
Well, I mean, look,
movies
there's
are a
gonna
little bit
there's,
better.
there's gonna
you
be
know?
leaps in logic here and there, but
Yeah.
ultimately, what's sad is that his plan. I think they wanted his plan to come off as like this mastermind plan, and you're just kind of convoluted as to what he did versus what he was opportunistically like taking advantage
Absolutely.
of. And to me, this read as I see these two people that if I push a little bit, I can control via his love for her and by the fact that I know they're together and it's taboo and it's illegal and he's worried about that.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like, you can't make a plan as complex as it is as his was. I mean, this might have been like his third attempt to get things going the way he wanted. You know, where it's like it is him playing with the
But it
pieces that
took
are
him
falling.
13 years to do.
Oh, I'm
From
sure
the
but
Battle of
here's the thing,
Naboo to this moment, it's been 13 years.
But I'm sure he killed Plagueis as a young man. So I'm sure he's been doing this for 60 years, trying to set this all up.
yeah.
Yeah.
And
Either
that
way,
happens.
over on what's up?
Really quick, just a highlight of the scene, right? I really love the delivery. Not from a Jedi.
Not from a Jedi.
Who says it?
Stop Sidious.
Yeah, where he's like,
can I learn these things?
learn this power?
Oh,
Like,
got it,
not
got it, got it,
from a
got
Not
it.
from a Jedi.
I legitimately love that.
Yeah.
Like, I think
No,
that
yeah.
this is the best acting in the whole movie is Ian McDermott. Is
Yeah.
that his name?
But it's very like, I don't know. We've lamented on it enough. Over on Kashyyyk, Yoda hangs out with the Wookiees and has another meeting with the council via Skype. He Skypes into the council, and they found General Grievous, and Anakin wants to be the one to go, but the council votes that Obi-Wan should go. And then Anakin's like, "Puh, I should be the one to go kill him. And Obi-Wan like, who
Nobody
cares?
cares about my vote.
Yeah. We see Wookiees fight droids, and who cares? Because we have zero fucking connection to anything that's happening here.
Those poor
So,
Wookiees are getting killed.
Whatever.
Left and right.
Good. I mean, serves him right. Except, remember, two of them swinging like Tarzan because we've seen that before.
And then they do
so
the
we
yell.
remember that, and they did
Yeah.
the Tarzan yell.
And
Remember?
the subtitle does say it's Tarzan yell.
Yeah. Do you guys?
No, I'm serious.
It does. It
Does
said
it
the
really?
same thing
Yeah.
for Return of the Jedi.
Whoa.
You guys remember when that happened in Return of the Jedi? Because that's what they want you to remember. And then Obi-Wan and Anakin share a scene where Anakin apologizes for being frustrated with the council. He's like, "Man, I'm just so sorry. I've been so frustrated with all this." And Obi-Wan goes, "You know what? You're really wise." Is what he says to him. He goes, "It's okay. For apologizing. You're very wise."
I kind of like that moment.
What the fuck did he do? What has he done at all that's
That's wise.
None of this makes sense.
He doesn't only say wise. He says like, you've learned a lot, you've grown a lot, and I love.
Though he's having an illicit
Yeah.
affair with a girl who he knocked up. It's like not
He
good.
decapitated the dude.
But
And
he
he's a
also
murderer.
talked about like the 9 times that Obi-Wan
He
was
killed
saved
people all
by
the
Anakin.
time.
It's true.
No, we've seen one of those. So
Also,
that's good.
like Obi-Wan's killed a bunch of people, right?
never murdered though.
I'm pretty
Killed
sure.
Obi-Wan. Or,
Defenseless
But again,
people. It's
but
a
here's the
defenseless thing.
Here's
It's not
the
a murder thing.
You guys are equating murder with like this guy just nearly killed my best friend, is trying to kill me, and like now we got to get the fuck out of here, and I got to carry this guy and this dude with 2 arms. I can't do it, but I can't let him live because obviously robot hands very easy to do.
Yeah, they're really
You
easy
know?
to do.
Also, just to point out, this is the last scene that they're together and they're friends.
yeah.
And there is no emotional weight to that.
Not at
There is
all.
no like goodbye, like I don't know the next time I'm gonna see you, because the next time they see each other, they're trying to kill each
You were a
other.
brother to me.
Yep.
So
Then Obi-Wan heads off to find Grievous. That night, Anakin dreams about Padme dying again, or maybe she's banging Obi-Wan. I don't know. There's a little bit of that in there, a little bit, right? Am I the only one that felt that? Anyway, it could go either way. Padme and Anakin talk again, and Anakin feels lost, which is kind of something we already know from the last 10 scenes where he said he feels as much. He found a way to save Padme from his nightmares, and Padme's like, "I'm not going to fucking die during childbirth. I promise." And
Unless
he goes,
you
"No."
choke
I
me.
promise.
And she goes, "I promise." He goes, "No, I promise you won't." And she goes, "Who cares?
Cool.
What the fuck happened?
Bro,
Doesn't matter.
why do I
what
like
the
you?"
fuck is happening?" Obi-Wan lands on Utapau. Is that how you say that? To search for Grievous, and the people that greet him there just kind of tell him that Grievous. They're like, "Hey man, he's here."
I really like this scene. I know it's fucking dumb.
It's so
but them
dumb.
Getting over there and then like the walking, and it's so dumb. But them walking and be like, "Did you tell him? Yeah, is he coming back more? I don't know." It's just such a silly, stupid
This
thing.
scene really confused me.
It's confusing.
Because he walks up and they're like, "Oh, he's on the 10th floor or whatever. Go get him." And then he's like, "All right, cool." And then he flies away, and then
He makes his ship fly away.
Yeah.
He tells the R unit,
Yeah.
he goes, "Go fly back to the thing and tell General Cody to bring
Okay,
the
so the
forces."
thing that was confusing me though is that then it cuts to like a hooded Obi-Wan underneath
Yeah.
shading, and it looks like it's happening all simultaneously.
Yeah.
is it not?
Yeah, I think
because
it
I
is.
think he's projecting himself, like Luke does at the end of the Last Jedi, where he's like projecting his image into.
No, I don't think he's doing
No,
that.
I think it was just a
way.
bad cut.
No.
I think he was supposed to. The
The
way
ship
the way
took
the
off
scene was
without
supposed to
him.
happen is he tells his RT unit, and he was trying to make it look like he was in the ship, and then we cut and he's hiding because we see Grievous looking down like, "Oh, I guess he took off. I don't have to worry about this anymore."
Yeah.
So,
Because
like-
it just looks like it. What I first did, I straight up Googled like Obi-Wan. Is he a clone? Does he have a clone that like the clone flies back, and then the hooded one is like, "Oh, there he is leaving. I'm watching him in real time." Like it all happened so weirdly. I don't know. I was very
No, I-
confused.
I
At
by it.
least he had a lizard, you know?
Oh, he doesn't have it yet, but he does. He's gonna have that big ass.
Oh, God damn it, Andy.
That's really good.
You're really
Thanks,
good.
really good. Fuck.
We see a scene where Grievous is meeting with the Separatists, and he orders them to Mustafar so they'll be safe there. And they're like, "Why are we even a part of this anymore?" I would be like, "Can we just go? Like, I'm nuts, gun rays, and I just don't want to be a part of this anymore." Instead of waiting for the fleet, though, Anakin's like, "You know what? I'm going to take some of Anakin's advice and just take care of this myself." So he jumps down into the middle of an entire droid army. But instead of letting them just fucking kill him, Grievous goes, "No, I'll take care of this guy myself. This advanced, the scariest warrior on in the entire galaxy. I got this because I got emphysema, but it's not. It's cool. I took my
It's
pills.
not that bad, yeah,
I took
yeah.
my pills. And then he pulls
He was
out.
trained in the Jedi arts.
He tells him, "I was trained in the Jedi arts by Count Dooku for at least a week, so I got this. And I also have 4 arms and 4 lightsabers from
Why does
Jedis
he
that
have
I
4
killed."
arms?
Like,
I
no,
guess.
you weren't. Okay, I watched the video.
Like, I swear I did.
I mean,
the
also, it
homework.
doesn't matter. I'm just gonna buzzsaw until
a
it's
second,
cut-
until
yeah,
they get cut
until
off.
it. But it just actually watching the choreography here is so like, oh, he could have slashed him with his other arm that's just sitting there here or here or here. There's so many moments where
So many arms.
had he just used the other arms to slice.
I liked him having the blue and green lightsabers though. Like that makes him seem like a badass, even though he's fucking coughing.
Yeah.
So they start. He cuts one of the arms off and gets the better of Grievous, despite Grievous having 4 times the advantages to kill him. But before they can finish, the clones get there and they, out of nowhere, again just appear and they start fighting all the droids. And then Grievous takes off in a giant spinning wheel, and Obi-Wan pursues him on his iguana.
Man, shout out to that spinning wheel.
Yeah.
Did it need to have legs? No. But do I love the legs? I sure do.
I mean, it was cool enough that they put it in Borderlands 3, so I'm just saying. It's a cool fucking bike.
Fair point.
Also, the bikes that they'll have like one giant wheel around you, it's cool, man. Technology's getting there.
As he's pursuing Grievous, of course, he has to drop his lightsaber because otherwise we can't believe that Grievous would have any fucking chance in hell
at
of
all.
being him because we've already seen Grievous with 4 lightsabers get easily taken by Obi-Wan.
So
And so he drops his lightsaber in the middle of a bunch of clones, and a really bad CG clone picks it up and goes, oh, what's this? And then the scene cuts out.
There were a lot of moments during this whole fight where I'm just like, just fucking force him, dude. Like, again, forget everything you know. And he ends up doing that later on.
Well, no, he does that
But
here.
like right
But
out
also
when
just-
he's doing the spinning, just be like, fuck
Well, he does.
you.
That's how he beats him, right? So he cuts one of his arms off, and he forces him, and Grievous goes, "Shit, I can't take this," and he gets up and gets off on the thing. But then don't forget about that for the next scene where he doesn't use that power. That really worked really well.
Also,
Instead, he decides to hand-to-hand fight Grievous, a
It
7'4"
hurts his
fucking monster
foot.
covered
He
in
kicks
armor.
him and is like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's right, you're metal. Mostly.
Back on Coruscant, Mace Windu senses a plot to destroy the Jedi.
What? All right.
So once the war is over, we should take back control from the Chancellor by force if he won't give it up willingly. And Yoda's like, man, this could be dicey. This shit could go south fast. And everyone's like, yeah, we fucked this up royally.
Is this as they're getting on to... No, that's a little later.
Anakin meets with Palpatine, and again, to once again vent his frustrations with the Council. And at this point, I'd be like, dude, I get it. You don't like what's going on here. This is the 15th scene now where you've talked about how you don't like what's happening with the Jedi. We get it. You're disgruntled. Palpatine admits to Anakin that he knows the ways of the dark side. He encourages Anakin to embrace a larger view of the Force if he wants to be a leader. If he learns the dark side of the Force, he can save his wife from death. And oh, by the way, I'm the Sith Lord. And Anakin wants to kill him. He's like, you're the Sith Lord that's caused all this problem? You're Sidious? And then Anakin gets control of himself and decides to turn Palpatine in. But Palpatine's not worried, and neither are we.
This whole thing, man. Wow.
God
Keep this
damn it
going because I gotta
again.
pee.
I gotta pee next too.
Oh no.
I'm in the other room.
Don't sit down.
And I'm
Don't sit down.
heartbroken, all right?
Yeah.
4 and 5. That's where you put my movies with the little Annie.
Yeah.
4 and 5.
They're
Yeah.
gonna
I
go
don't know
lower.
what you people want. I assume it's this. Come out here, Griff. This is what you people want. Huh? This is what makes a good
Wait, hold on. We have to hear this. We have to hear his voice. Here-
Fantastic.
It's not. It's not. Keep talking.
What the fuck do you want from me? I'm the coolest thing you've ever seen in
He
this
said
movie.
the F word. Holy shit.
Is this the Chinese version?
What is going on? What is going on? These impersonations.
Impersonation.
Wait.
What?
God damn it.
Harder than it looks, isn't it? I agree. It's no bigger than a cornstalk. Eh?
raspier voice.
Okay, let me just scream.
Do it.
Fuck.
Do it.
What the fuck do you want from me?
He's so angry.
What the fuck?
Oh, there's the cough. We got the cough.
We're out there.
He's coughing.
We're really into the galaxy far, far away. You're not happy with anything.
Yeah, it's 4 and 5, guys. Sorry. Like this one might be pretty low. Where are your eyes?
He's looking at me.
Watto and Grievous, thank you.
After my first girlfriend died, I took over 10 wives. So I've gotten the most pussy out of almost everyone in Star Wars and definitely everyone at this table.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, damn.
Is that
Oh,
canon?
man, Grievous.
I guess so. I'm
More
not
pussy
sure.
than anyone. Wow.
Do you want to keep reading Nick's plot?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Man.
Where are we at?
Maybe it's time for some ads.
You know, it might be.
That's
you
a
know?
perfect time.
It might be. It might be.
Let's keep talking.
Let's just a little bit longer.
a little
You
bit
know what I
longer.
mean? Back to you, Nick.
Back on Utapau, Obi-Wan catches up to Grievous, but since he doesn't have his lightsaber anymore, they have to hand-to-hand close combat fight. Makes sense, right? Because evidently you can only muster one force push a day, and that's it. Then you have to wait for your power level meter
His
to
stamina
recharge.
wasn't high enough.
And so what does
Set
he
of power
do?
battles.
He resorts to the most garish of weapons, the blaster. And he blasts Grievous into
Uncivilized.
and then he goes, how uncivilized. Because you remember that time we learned that it was from, it's a elegant weapon for a more civilized time. Well, this is that civilized time. And a blaster is grody.
But also saved his life.
Yeah. But also he could have just pushed his, it doesn't matter.
I like that his eyes explode in fire.
It's really violent.
But like, why was that designed that way? Well, who
He had a
cares?
cough, man. Heartburn.
Anakin and Mace Windu take a casual stroll to go relieve Palpatine of his emergency power, and Anakin tells Palpatine that Mace Windu that Palpatine is Lord Sidious. Then Mace says, "Our worst fears have been realized. We have to move quickly if the Jedi Order is to survive." Then they just keep casually walking forward.
But also, why? Why do they have to move quickly?
Oh.
Or do we call everyone back and we all take them down together?
Before Watto and Grievous graced us with their presence, I was so the back and forth between Palpatine and Anakin of like, oh, you're the Sith Lord, you know, I'm gonna go tell everybody, and then like he let him go.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah.
yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Bring it.
You would think he would be like, well, you have to come with me because I have to put you in chains because you have just admitted to me that you are the one responsible for
Yeah.
killing lots of people and all the wars and all the you are the mastermind, the architect of the Jedi's destruction and all of my friends that you've killed. You're coming with me. I'm putting you in chains. You're going to go into a cell, but so we figure this out. Or I trust that you're just not going to go anywhere, right? You're not going to
Where's
run.
he gonna
You'll
go?
be cool.
He's the most powerful dude in the like galactic senate.
I mean,
right
I
now.
definitely wouldn't give him more
Like,
time to like.
he's not
get
gonna
more
run
people.
away.
Yeah,
to prepare. Yeah.
to prepare for this.
Hey, when you leave, just make sure the door locks behind you.
But
okay, buddy?
apparently,
You know,
they're
like-
very, very trusting in the
So
Jedi
bad.
Council because
But what does he
happens
do?
next?
He just chills.
Well, this is what he does. He tells Mace Windu. Mace is like, "Cool, I'll go take care of this." But Anakin, I can sense you're a little conflicted about this, and I can't really trust you. If what you said is true, then I will trust you. But until I trust you, you have to go get put into a cell too. And by the cell, I mean just go chill up at the third floor hotel lounge that is the Jedi Council room. Just go up there.
Yeah.
You know where the Best Western is? Go to the third floor. That's where the Jedi Council room is. You go there. Until I do this,
I
okay?
thought that line was really cool, where he was like, "If this information is true, then you have gained my trust." It was like, "Oh yeah, Mace Windu never liked you. We could see that."
But there's a line.
But the
where,
acting was so bad, where it was like, how is it that Samuel Jackson is fucking boring right now?
Well-
And he gets on a little plane, and they're like, "I'll see you later."
But there's a moment in movies where you see leadership, right? And this is like in the best movie ever made, Die Hard, where the FBI gets there. And they're even stupider than the chief of police who is running this thing. And it's done for a reason because Sergeant Al Powell is the only person that really knows what's going on, right? And you go, when those FBI agents die, you go, good, because you were fucking stupid. And you deserve to die in a helicopter crash because you were arrogant and you weren't listening to the people that really knew what was happening. We're borderline that with Mace Windu and Yoda in this. Why the fuck would you let him? You know he's a double agent. You just admitted that he is conflict. You can sense that he's conflicted about betraying this guy. Why would you not have other people guard him? It's cool, man. Just go up to the conference room, get yourself a cup of coffee, wait for us.
But I don't
or
think-
come back and kill me. Whatever.
I don't think it matters in the sense that, like, I don't think that Mace Windu could have beaten him. I think that the reason why Lord Sidious is in the position that he is because he knew that Anakin was coming, and he needed Anakin to make that as his big jump. That was his big moment of like turning against the Jedi Council.
Right, but Mace didn't know any of this shit.
No,
so
but,
if
like,
you
what
came
I
to me
was
and said,
saying
"Hey, Andy's got a fucking gun in the next room, and I might help him," I'd be like, okay, well, I have to have Kevin come subdue you so I can go deal with
Why'd it have
that.
to be
Not
Kevin?
just hang out in the other room with a gun and come maybe come shoot me.
Yeah.
You know, all I'm saying is these people are fucking morons and should not
they
run
had
anything.
to somehow get his face fucked up.
Oh, we're getting to that. Anyway, then Mace. Okay, cool. So Anakin goes and just sits in the Jedi Council until he remembers Palpatine's words, which says that if he dies, any chance of Anakin saving Padme dies with him. So while he watches the sunset, he decides to become bad. And then Mace Windu goes to arrest Sidious, but Sidious has one more trick up his sleeve. Literally, it's a lightsaber. Ha ha! Right? And he makes real quick work of the
Fuck,
two
man.
dumb shit Jedis that Mace Windu brought with him.
Fisto, like, he's so cool looking, and he gets sliced down in 3 seconds.
Yeah. And then Windu gets but Mace Windu is the better swordsman than Palpatine, and he gets the better of him.
Kind of.
It knocks his saber out of his hand, but before he can arrest him, Anakin walks in, and Sidious starts throwing lightning, and then they both accuse each other of being traitors, and then Sidious's face gets all old looking, because remember when it was old looking in the other movies? That's why.
God, it's so fucking weird. Later in the movie, when he has the hood on, it looks good, I would say.
Looks fine.
I don't really like the eyes. It's distracting. But when he doesn't have the hood on,
The whole morphing and all that. weird
I
animation
get that
shit.
when you turn yourself to the dark side, like it can start to corrupt your facial features and like make
Your
you
eyes.
look eyes and evil.
It's like
and
when
stuff
you go
that.
renegade in Mass Effect. You're
Yeah.
like you get like red little scars on your
But
body. and
I
shit.
just always assumed that the makeup for the Emperor in the original trilogy was to make him look a little older and a
Old,
little
yeah.
bit more ominous. I didn't think it was supposed to make him look
Scarred.
like a monster or scarred
Yeah.
or something like that. So the fact that they did that in this was just like, why?
Yeah.
those two
Also,
Jedi. Those two
unnecessary
Jedi, by
element.
the way. Yeah, like
Yeah,
like
just like, God.
oh, like they're what? How are you in this position?
Yeah.
Like the little kid in the fucking later on that defends goddamn Jimmy
Yeah.
Smits. Like did a much better job against all these droids than this one guy did
know.
against the slowest attack ever.
God, terrible.
But also the effects of him like flipping, which he didn't have to do.
Yeah.
There's no reason to do a backflip right now, but he did, and it just was like, man, this looks like.
No. Like, it's just so terrible.
And also unlimited power. Where it's like, all right,
all right, man.
what the fuck is that? Do you have unlimited
We
power?
need numbers on everything.
And then Goku came in Kamehameha, like they're
Yeah.
just calling out their moves and shit.
ultra unlimited power.
Seeing his only chance to save Padme, Anakin stops Windu from killing Sidious, and then Sidious electrocutes him to death out the window. Then Anakin's like, "What have I done? Also, what the fuck happened to your face?" Jesus Christ, cover that shit up.
He did that to himself. He started shocking. Immediately, Mace
Could've just
Windu was like,
stopped.
"Oh, block."
Yeah.
And
They
then that
just
could have been
kept
it.
going.
But like he kept on, and I get
it felt good.
that was to win over like Shock Mike.
Like sometimes when we touch
Yeah,
the trust,
yeah.
and we secretly like it.
Yeah. And I get that he did that so that he could win over Anakin, but like, man, that dude fucked up his face.
Then Anakin pledges his unholy allegiance to Sidious, his teachings, and then he's given the new name Darth Vader.
There it is. That's how he got
Not
his name.
Darth Anakin, Darth Vader. Because you got to get a whole new name, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Darth Skywalker, not cool. Darth Vader, cool. Where'd you get Vader from? Just thought of it. That's how cool I am. It's like a fighting chicken. That's what it stands for. Sidious names all the Jedi enemies of the Republic, names all the Jedi enemies of the Republic. They have to all be destroyed, including Obi-Wan and the kids. He orders Anakin to the temple to clean house, and then to Mustafar to kill Nuts Gunray. Sidious calls Commander Cody, and then orders him to execute.
Weird name, Commander Cody.
Hey, Commander Cody.
Is Barrett,
Feels
is he
very
a mu-
Disney Channel.
Yeah.
Like,
Is he a much bigger character in Clone Wars?
He is a character. Like I think he's got a couple of like episodes where he's like one of the main casts. But
Mikey, call Cody and bring him inside. We have dinner's ready. Like
I like
it's such a
the
weird name.
idea that all the clones are sitting there in like the little like lunchroom with fucking 100,000 clones, and like one of them's just like, call me Cody from now on, and everyone's like, no, dude, your designation is E fucking 039.
that's the cool thing. Again, I know this is like just in the context of the movies and whatnot, but I like that in the show they do give the context of they don't want to feel like just
Right.
numbers and soldiers.
They have
and stuff.
nicknames and stuff.
and they have personalities.
What
and they,
an
like, they
original
become,
concept. Such an original concept, Lucas.
So he calls
Cody, call
Commander Cody.
Lucas.
To be fair, I feel like that is like, and granted, I'm not a big fan of Clone Wars, but like the idea that it is seeing all these clones and like that is I think an original concept of like this mass clone army and how these people define themselves. You know?
Nah, I just feel like I don't know. I don't feel like that's. I feel like there's a bunch of movies where there's a lot of robots. Like, no, I'm my own person. Like, call me so and so.
Remember Terminator 3?
Yeah, good movie.
Do you think Commander Cody went on to own a drapery business and not bang his wife? He tells him to execute Order 66.
God.
So they blast Obi-Wan off of his iguana. And then on every battlefield across the galaxy, we see clones turn on the Jedi and fucking ice them. And then over
cool
on
moment.
It's a cool moment.
Yeah.
Very, very, very cool moment.
Could it have been better? 1,000%.
100%,
But
but, like-
it was cool to see the dude with the fucked up head, just like, what the fuck? Oh no! And then shot dead.
And
Gotti
then
Mundi.
another moment where this is
What's
just
that?
over on, what's up?
I said his name.
What is his name?
Ki-Adi Mundi.
Yeah.
Well, I never knew that.
Keanu Mooney, back to you, buddy. Over on Kashyyyk, this is too much for Yoda's little heart to handle, and he goes, "Oh, my
It means no
heart,
worries."
my heart." And then we see some other people get iced, and then it's Yoda's turn, but Yoda ain't no
Plo
fool.
Koon, man,
No, he
goes
ain't a
down like
bitch.
a bitch in the plane.
Yeah.
Dude.
That was sad.
Yoda just cuts the shit off of these guys'
Cuts
fucking
the
heads that try to
fuck
kill
out of
him.
them.
Pretty cool.
It's pretty cool. And then,
But you don't think like the Wookiee's like, what the fuck, dude?
Whoa,
Yeah.
hey,
Whoa!
what just happened?
The Wookiee is like, you guys came and saved us. You want to kill as many goddamn soldiers as you want. I get it.
You don't think the Wookiees are out there
clones.
torturing clones too for sport? They're like, fuck these guys. They all look the same. No one cares.
Ripping the heads
Who
off.
cares? Just ripping arms off and beating them with it.
Arms, that's what I meant.
Then we see a bunch of young Padawans hiding in the council room, and then Anakin comes in, and one of them goes, "Master Skywalker, there are too many of them.
That kid
What
was
are we going
fucking
to
adorable.
do?"
You don't think that kid was fucking adorable?
Yeah, he was super British.
And
though.
when they turned on the lightsaber and he fucking,
little
it
stutter
was
back.
like, oh
That's
my
so fucking
god,
terrifying,
Dude, I think that scene is legitimately fucking great,
Yeah.
and it is iconic, and they did it.
yeah.
Like
But
that's the
here's-
thing where I'm like, it is a big jump for Anakin to have done this, but like, I
this is
appreciate it.
That's a bad guy.
I know.
Never going back.
if only it were earned.
Yep.
Yeah.
If only we
Yes,
were.
this
If
entire
only.
movie,
I mean,
man.
this was supposed to be a punch to the gut, and it was just like, this is the point of the movie where you pause it and go, "Fuck, I have like 30 more minutes of this abomination left. Let's just get through it."
No.
It was like an hour in.
This is an
that's right,
hour
'cause
and
we still have all the
15
Mustafar
minutes.
Yeah,
stuff.
but I feel like this
and all
is
the
definitely I
Yoda
didn't-
fighting the
At
other guy's
this point,
stuff.
I did not pause it. Like this point, I was like, oh fuck, like things are actually like now we've got something going on.
From here on out, I've never experienced a movie feel as fast and slow at the same time.
It's like time is standing still, but also punishing you. Jimmy Smits is saved by a really cool young Padawan, and I wish I knew more about him, but he just gets fucking murked. And then Obi-Wan emerges from the Blue Lagoon, not dead after all. Over on Kashyyyk, Yoda says goodbye to Chewbacca, because we've seen him before too. Remember him? So remember him?
He was in the other
He's in
movies.
this. He's in the other movies. And then he gets in his little cute little egg ship, and he goes back to Planet Yoda with all the rest of the Yodas. We don't know where he's going. He just gets in his little egg ship. You're like, where'd you get that little egg
I
ship,
think
Yoda?
they go to
Excellent.
No, he goes and meets up with Jimmy Smits.
Yeah.
Jimmy Smits walks down a hallway. And this is something I want to note. Okay. So we get the next scene, which is Jimmy Smits walking down the iconic white hallway to this cruiser that we've seen in A New Hope.
Yeah.
And it's a practical set. And it actually hit me how fucking cool that was.
And how out of place in this movie
And how
it is.
unbelievably sadly out of place it is. It is the first shot in this entire movie, probably in the entire trilogy, that reminds me of a Star Wars movie. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I wish the other 90% of this movie had been practical, but it wasn't. But then we see it again later. I'm like, that's so fun. You see a Jedi walking, it's so fucking cool.
A bunch of
Anyway.
fake felt and fake metals everywhere and fake carpet, and it's weird.
Let me see. It's all CG bullshit. Anyway, walks in the hallway of the public ship. Obi-Wan escapes up to Quad Bank, whatever, in a Cadillac, and he uses the emergency code to contact Jimmy Smits, who sends him the rendezvous coordinates. Back on Coruscant, Anakin tells Padme that the Jedi have tried to overthrow the Republic, but he's loyal to the Chancellor now and the Senate and to Padme. And Padme is scared. And boy, do they give her just fucking nothing to do in this movie. Obi-Wan meets up with Bail or Jimmy Smits again and Yoda, and apparently there's a coded message from the temple that's being sent out to bring all the Jedi there.
full retreat.
And they're like, oh no, this is a trap for them. This is a pivotal moment. If we don't go decode this message and turn it off, the remainder of the Jedi, who are all already dead anyway,
I
will
guess
be
some
drawn
stragglers.
back to this planet. So we have to do this. This is going to be a huge scene where we have to break into this thing. No, it's not.
Does give us the cool moment of fucking Yoda outside just cutting down fucking stormtroopers.
Yeah.
Clones.
Anakin lands on the lava planet of Mustafar, which is orbiting a very lovely looking planet that's much bigger and probably way easier to hide on. But you know what? Let's put everyone on the real hot planet. Anakin walks in. What's up?
There's some significance in Mustafar that they've added later where it's like a hotbed for like Sith shit.
Yeah, I remember. I watched Rogue One also. Anakin walks in.
I don't think that they mentioned it in Rogue One.
He's on the planet in Rogue One. They literally see Vader on Mustafar.
No, I know. It doesn't matter. It's Force Awakens.
No, they don't mention what you
Yeah,
just said,
yeah.
but it's Mustafar.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
why we see it again in Rogue One. Because guess what? We've seen it before. Star Wars. Anakin walks in and just murks all the Separatists. And this is a scene that should really be scary, but it's not. And I draw you back to Rogue One, which is a future spoiler, but the end of that fucking movie is terrifying, and that's what this whole sequence
good.
should have been.
Yeah.
But since you don't
badly
care
shot.
and you don't really give a fuck about Anakin,
It's really one of those
it's
things you're
really
like,
not
Newt
good.
Gunray's still here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
That's what I'm saying, bro. These guys have like,
Why didn't they leave?
hey, you know what?
They got a whole galaxy to
If
hide
I were
out in.
Anakin, I would have been like, man, you should have been dead a long time ago. Like,
Yeah.
be happy you've lasted
Yeah.
this long. But I don't know. I kind of disagree. I thought it was kind of cool. I thought the
I
scene
liked
was.
it,
I think
yeah.
the scene was pretty cool. Especially, no, you know what? It
Well-
starts off the coolest, where he walks in
starts
and
off
just
really
shuts
cool.
the
Yeah.
door.
Then
and
we-
it, and
then
it
we-
zooms into his like face, right? And his eyes are fucking like glowing yellow, and it's
Yeah.
like.
Then
this
we
is really
cut
cool.
back to it, and the blocking is so
It's so
Yeah.
bad.
terrible. And he's like cutting people, and there's like a dude standing over here, like I don't. is
In
he-
the frame, like
Is he like he's literally there's literally a guy in the background just sipping a Starbucks.
you see like a boom
"Oh,
mic.
what's going on here, guys? Like, are you guys still fighting or what's up? Anyway, Yoda and Obi-Wan fight their way into the temple while a special Senate meeting has been called, during which the Chancellor tells everyone the Jedi uprising has been quashed. The remaining Jedi will be hunted down and defeated. And then Obi-Wan and Yoda just discover the dead younglings were killed by a lightsaber, and who could have done that? And everyone's like, Anakin. Anakin definitely did this. Like, is
They
there
know.
any doubt that anyone? Anyway,
They
doesn't matter.
know. They know.
They fucking know.
Yeah, I mean, their next thing is to go look at the recording, and then they see Anakin.
Meanwhile,
do that.
Anakin is slaughtering everyone back on Mustafar, and it's somehow not scary. Let's see.
It takes so long. Like the fact that they could cut back, and there's still a dude being like, "No," you know,
Yeah.
it's just like, "Oh, all right."
Back in the Senate, I mean, we didn't need to see it. We needed
No.
to see him walk in and go, "Vsh," and the door
Yeah,
shut.
and that would have been great.
And that's cool.
Yeah.
But instead, George is like, "Oh no, we got to go back and
Well, they
show
already did
more
that with the
lightsaber
kids,
stuff."
though. They did that with the younglings. I'm sure if they did that, we'd be like, and we get another scene where we don't see Anakin be evil. You
That's
know?
a good point. Back in the Senate, Padme and Jimmy Smith watch as the Chancellor tells everyone that in order to ensure a safe and secure society, the Republic will now be reorganized into the first ever galactic empire. And Padme continues to literally do nothing. But she does say, "So this is how liberty dies," with thunderous applause. And Jimmy Smith is like, we're senators. We could have maybe stopped this, but what? You were, again.
People are stoked about it, too.
Yeah, people were really excited.
Which is weird.
Jar Jar Binks is just fucking losing it.
He's losing his mind, bro.
Like, oh, me so happy.
And this is another sad part about this, right? They introduce this element that they have to stop this thing from the signal from being put out, otherwise all the Jedi get killed, which would have been really cool, right? Like imagine the third act of this movie was Yoda and Obi-Wan having to fight their way back into the Jedi Temple in order to turn the signal off to save what remaining Jedi there are, but instead it just cuts and Yoda's like, "Oh, it's gonna take him a while to figure that one out. You want to get
And
a
like,
Starbucks?"
also, like, why add that line of like, it'll take them a long time to like undo this? It's like, well, so they can undo it?
Yeah, but also
Yeah.
all the Jedi are already dead. What's the point of
There's
this?
a bunch of Jedis that haven't died.
Are there?
Yeah.
Forget everything
Are
you
there?
know.
Fallen Order.
Okay.
Yeah,
Whole game about it.
No, I think that line
Maybe.
is just exposition for the
Yeah.
audience, so we could be like, "Oh, they are safe."
Yeah.
You know, like that's.
Obi-Wan, Yoda, they both survived the attack.
That's it.
That's it that you know of.
No, we pretty much know. That's it. We've seen literally 20 years into the future, and there's no more Jedi left. Remember
They're all
that? How we
scarce.
already watched those movies, and there's no Jedi left? So everything they're doing in this, because we've literally already seen those movies, we know there's no tension whatsoever. All the rest of the Jedi are saved, but there are none left. Why the fuck did I just come here? I don't know. Why is anyone doing any of this shit? You came here so you can fight Lord Sidious, which is happening in a second. Then he
the
watches.
cutest little crawling out of a vent.
God, he pulls an Andy
That
Dufresne.
front scene where it's like his face.
I love it so much,
so
Tim.
funny.
Weird
And also
diehard
him
scene.
breathing.
Yeah. Then they watch the security footage of Anakin killing everyone, and he can't believe it's Anakin because he's like his little brother, and he can't. And then he's like, "I can't kill him, but I have to go up to the Emperor." And Yoda's like, "No, you got to go kill Anakin. He's not Anakin anymore." And Obi-Wan's like, "Okay." So I'll find him then. Obi-Wan.
Think hard.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere he could be? It's like, oh, he does have a wife.
Yeah.
That I've kind of neglected to tell everyone about.
But
So
like,
I guess I'll go.
does he know
ask
at this
her.
point that he's married to Padme and they're still together?
I assume that he did.
Obi-Wan?
Yeah.
Don't they have a moment when Obi-Wan's talking with her?
That's
Well, she
about
tells
to,
her
that's
they're
about
pregnant.
to happen.
I know.
Yeah.
I think that's about to happen now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've not, as the audience, we've been given no.
I think that that's him finding out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But, like, he
why
must have
would
thought.
so they've been keeping their relationship secret from everyone, right? Mm-hmm. And again, granted, I don't think it's that big of a leap in logic to know like your best friend's dating someone, even though they didn't tell you they were dating, because it's like always completely
Yeah.
obvious. But the audience doesn't know. Obi-Wan knows that Padme and Anakin are still in contact with each other. So why would he go to Padme?
No. The audience does know because the last time Padme and Anakin interacted, Anakin was like, "Hey, be cool. They're rebelling, and we're handling it though, right?"
But we have never seen a scene where Obi-Wan goes, "Hey, I know you're dating Padme." Is what I'm saying. I don't think we saw
But
that in this
earlier,
movie.
you guys were saying like everyone knows that they were together.
Well, no, but we have never seen that.
No, I
We're just
understand,
making that
but
leap in logic. That
But like,
he
yeah,
would
I
know.
mean, but you guys were acting like it was heavily implied.
We're splitting hairs.
Anyway, he goes to Padme because that's the next natural step in this anyway. And he tells Anakin, Padme that Anakin has turned to the dark side. He's seen security footage of Anakin killing children, and Padme acts like this is completely out of character. This is shocking. Why would I don't believe you? Is what she says.
No
he
way
would
he's
never
ever-
kill children,
Only the
except for
sand
the time
people.
that he admitted to
Yeah.
me that he killed children. To which I would have been like, "Oh, you don't believe me? Here's the fucking security footage of him killing children." But she's like, "I won't help you at all." And he goes, "Okay," and then leaves.
Shout out
my
to her,
my
though.
son would never do that in school.
Exactly.
That's what this
Even
is.
though, I mean, I get that Padme knows secretly that Anakin has done this and wants to go confront him himself, but this is so poorly done. It's like, come on, you fucking know. Like, you know he's a psychopath, right? Anyway.
But that was an act, right? Like that was her pretending to
Yes.
be like, "Oh, no idea. I'm gonna go fucking talk to him directly.
Exactly.
I'm gonna go to this fucking lava planet."
Let's
9
see.
months pregnant.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. She's like, I'm fiberglass, whatever. Obi-Wan tells Padme all the events that have happened up to this point, including the Chancellor being the Sith Lord. Just in case anyone who was watching this movie didn't understand what was going on, he just recaps the entire story for her right here. And then he asks Padme to help him find Anakin, but she tells him no, because he's her baby mama. And instead of pressing her for the answer, he just leaves. Padme takes
He had a
off
plan.
to confront Anakin, and Obi-Wan stows away in her ship in a little cupboard. And we're like, oh, good on you, Obi-Wan. You're actually outsmarting people in this. And then Sidious orders Anakin to send an order to the Trade Federation shutting down all of the droids, because I guess they can go now chill with the bug army that we never saw again. Why would you shut down the droids? It's another army at your disposal. Shut down the droids. You now... Never mind.
Great.
Because he's still manipulating the Galactic Empire's Senate.
Yeah, he needs like everybody
Remember
on their
the-
side.
Oh, I
like-
see.
the
So we have to
Senate-
shut the army down because the war's over.
Right.
Yeah.
Officially. Got
The
it.
Senate is still in existence up until the end, or
I think the Senate's always in existence.
It- no,
at
they
the end of a New
destroyed.
Hope.
Four. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, start somewhere in the start of the New
There's-
Hope.
there's a
where,
great
like,
Oh, they're right. They
all-
have the throwaway
yeah.
line where he's like, he's officially dissolved the Senate.
Right.
He is now the emperor. All that stuff. That's
There's a
right.
great cut towards the sort of start of this fight or whatever that we retweeted from Kind of Funny Best Friend that was like, please talk about this. And it's Obi-Wan putting his hand on Padme as she's on the ground to make sure she's alive or whatever.
Right.
But it's clearly just a still of Padme and a green screened hand,
Wait, really?
touching the head of Padme. And you could tell it's like just a still image of Padme that the hand is kind of making it look like,
Psychotic.
because like the shadows just don't cast correctly at all. It's really badly done, man. It's impressive.
Oh, it's impressive how bad it
Hey,
is.
one thing that I do like about this movie more so than the first two was I feel like the designs of the ships are
Her ship is dope.
a very nice blend of the ships that we know from like the good guys and bad guys from the original trilogy, where it's like you can see the TIE fighter where it came, you can see the
Yeah.
AT-ATs, you can see the X-wings, you
You
can
see the
see
Star
stuff,
Destroyers.
but it's Star Destroyers, but
a
it's
great
all
example.
elements of it,
Yeah.
and you can totally understand like where that jump to where we go, and I think that's really rad.
Well, I think I always remember one of the criticisms being that like it seems like, oh, that's fucking hilarious. That is so funny.
I'm gonna send that to Bear.
But it does, obviously, because the technology has come so far and they can do much more with it. the big criticism of the prequels is that the technology seems like it's way more advanced here than it is in the original trilogy.
But I've always liked the response of like, that's true when it comes to the rebellion, but the rebellion doesn't have a real, like, they're pulling together whatever ships they can to make this army happen. And the Empire has these cool, really structured. Yeah.
This is from Great Brit Tom Caswell on Twitter.
You have to
That
imagine at
hand,
this
man.
point. You have to imagine at this point, Natalie Portman was like, "I am contractually obligated to be in this film. I will do as little as humanly possible to make this happen."
Yeah, and in when there's motion, when he lifts the hand, like the shadows don't like
They stay
form
with him.
around her head.
Like it's just a drop shadow effect you apply in After Effects. You can't give the depth. Let's see. Padme takes off. Obi-Wan stows. Sidious orders Anakin to send. Padme tells Anakin, and she lands on Mustafar and tells Anakin everything that Obi-Wan told her. But Anakin just gets jealous and weird and starts flexing his power. He's more powerful than any Jedi before him. He's brought peace to the Republic. They don't have to run anymore. He can overthrow the Chancellor, and together with Padme, they can rule. And then he smiles at her real creepy, like. And then Padme doesn't know him anymore. Anakin, you're breaking my heart. You're going down a path I can't follow. And he goes, because of Obi-Wan? And she's like, are you fucking listening
What
to
the fuck
anything
are
I'm
you talking about?
saying?
And then he looks up and
And Obi-Wan is like,
Just there.
hello, Superman
Yeah.
standing with his big dick energy.
Why
Just
does he
being
look like he's in Moulin Rouge?
I don't know. He looks like he's about
He
to
was
just
in
pump
Moulin
the air
Rouge.
with his dick. And then Obi-Wan is like, they start arguing.
Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan. And Anakin refuses to hear
Obadiah
Obi-Wan.
Ronald.
And he goes, if you're not with me, then you're my enemy. And he goes, only Sith deals in absolutes, except also so do the Jedi.
Except for Yoda.
Yeah.
Do or
And
do
then-
not.
That's it. Yeah, there is no
Do or do not. Absolutes.
absolutes. Then they just say, fuck it. This has been culminating for 3 films now. We gotta get it on.
And it's a cool fight. I like it.
It's a long fight.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
Yoda
it's cool.
I think it's cool.
and then Yoda basically
Has cool elements.
Yoda basically in the next scene confirms everything we've always thought. The fucking red guards, useless. What do? Are they even real people?
I love this shot.
Because you know
Yoda,
what it's
though?
like.
Come
You know what
on.
it's like. It's like when when you go to a third world like dictatorship and they try to set up things to make it look like they're more powerful, but in reality they're just standees. You push them over. That's what these things are. Yoda just walks through.
I love that. It's so cool.
I
That's
thought it was cool too.
Like that. The sound and the visuals
Yeah.
look really cool.
But you have to imagine there's a deleted scene where Sidious is like, useless. You're fired. You're fired.
I imagine someone like
Vince
later went
McMahon.
and like picked up the thing and it was just liquefied inside. He just fucking destroyed them. Like, oh shit!
Meat.
I think that the entire Palpatine Yoda fight is way cooler than I remember it being.
It's so.
I
It's
feel like,
good.
especially after seeing the
I
last
hate
movie.
the ending though. Of
No, it just is. It's cool, but it also makes no sense, right? Because the way it starts is they go, cool, we're going to start like 2 badass masters of these arts, and we're going to throw shit at each other and electrocute each other and do all this stuff. And then they go, oh, well, we're tired of that. Let's go back to lightsaber fighting.
Yeah, but and
Why?
also
But
at
doesn't
the
it end with them throwing around the Senate?
no,
And,
it
like,
ends with them like throwing shit down and then
Yeah,
Yoda
and
falls
him being like,
and
"I'm
stuff.
overwhelmed by." And it's
Yeah,
like, why?
and like
why are
it
you
just,
overwhelmed?
It just kind of ends where Sidious is like in a vulnerable state where he's like hanging off one of the things. He's like, "Hey!" And Yoda just kind of leaves, and the next line he says is, "I have failed." And it's like, you had like
You had
an opportunity right there. What the
Throw your
how?
lightsaber. Like
Do anything.
like spear it.
Yeah, I
through
mean,
him.
you really think that, like, let's just put it this way. This is your last ditch effort to save everything you know, and you're Yoda. You would, I mean, if it were me and I were the head of this Jedi Council and all of my friends just got killed, I'd be like, I have nothing to live for. I'm either going to beat this guy or die trying.
Or go to a swamp
Or
forever.
To hide
crawl
my
through a
energy.
little tiny thing, call my buddy Jimmy Smits to have me come pick me up in his dope-ass pimp Cadillac, and then go into exile, which is what he does.
Yeah,
And he says so
great
much.
option. Great option.
What a bitch. He
The-
just
but
ran
the one
away.
thing I thought was
Man.
weird to set off the fight, it was some of the dialogue with Palpatine and Yoda, where he like literally says, my little green friend. And I'm like, this just feels so out of place. Like, don't reference him being green. Like,
Oh,
that's
come on.
weird.
But
Yeah.
We're
here's
supposed to
the-
just think that it's okay that he's green, not that it's weird that he's green.
Here's the thing. It's so fucking cool. And like, did we ever imagine that we would get a fucking fight with Sidious and Yoda?
Yeah, we knew that
No.
was gonna happen.
No, we didn't. No
Right after he fought
fucking way.
Dooku, we were like,
no,
he's gonna
no
fight
way.
After he fought Dooku.
No way. No one saw that fucking coming, and I'm so happy it
I
happened.
disagree so hard, especially after 2.
Yeah, we
They
did.
gotta step it up. They gotta end it. They
Either
gotta bring
way,
it together.
he gets in Jimmy Smith's pimp ride, and the fucking top's down, and they're just cruising. And everything's cool.
Bitch
and
down
he's like,
I will.
He's like, I failed, so I'm going into exile. And Jimmy Smith's like, or we could just rendezvous with the rest of my fleet and
Hey, man,
take it to this guy again.
Rebellion. We're about to start it.
Yeah.
It's going to take a little bit to get there, but we could really use you.
We could like you and General Obi-Wan Kenobi could be really invaluable assets. And Yoda's like, no. And Jimmy Smith's like,
Okay.
and Jimmy Smith's like, but like, you're Yoda.
Yeah.
And you got at least 100 years more of life, right? But like, okay, cool. You know what? You just go on vacation. You've earned it. Whatever. Anakin and Obi-Wan fight over some lava. And then Obi-Wan admits to having...
Real lava, guys. The images of the volcanic eruption on Mustafar was real footage of Mount Etna in Italy, which was erupting at the time of production.
I wonder how much that cost. Our soul is what it cost. Then they argue some more, and Anakin thinks, and Obi-Wan admits that he's like, I failed you, Anakin. And then they argue some more, and Anakin thinks he's right, and Obi-Wan thinks he's right, and then Anakin says, this is the end for you, my master. And then they fight on the same lava boat, which is cool. And then Obi-Wan flips to the high ground, and it's endgame. It's
Before that though, I love the back and forth of they are evil. Well, in my opinion, Obi-Wan, if you don't mind me telling you what my opinion is, because from my point of view, you are the evil one. Like, it's just such a
So many words to get to like nothing.
From my point of view, Obi-Wan, you are the evil one. But it's just
And
like,
he's like,
but
oh,
you
fuck,
killed
George
kids.
Lucas. That's some deep shit,
Yeah,
man. That's
damn,
some deep
bro.
shit.
It was like Perd Hapley from Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
Like
It really
the
was.
sentence I'm going to say right now
Yeah.
is now ending.
And then Obi-Wan flips to the high ground, and it's over, Anakin. I have the high ground.
There's nothing you can do.
I
Just
am-
like we learned in episode 1, having
Yep.
the high ground, you can't
You're
fucking
fucked.
lose. You
Yeah.
I'm
can't
a
lose.
solid 10 feet up a hill from you. You're fucked. You are fucked, bro. You don't know this because you're not a master yet, but this is the fucking last thing they teach you before you become a master. Get 10 feet higher.
like Anakin just starts walking up like, oh fuck, I wasn't expecting that.
But like, yeah, if he had just jumped like sideways, you know?
Or if he had just come onto the shore. Because he was so far, he could have just been like, he could have force pulled his little boat on and then just stepped off onto the shore. But like, or we could just keep fighting, bro.
I'm
'Cause
not
you're
so
only a
upset
little
with
bit-
it, with the exception of it not having been set up at all.
Or just jump parallel to where he is. So, like,
Yeah.
just somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like,
Or you go like this. No, I'm just gonna
we've
stay here.
seen
You
these
come to me.
guys.
You
We've
come
seen,
to me.
we've seen these guys
Well, yeah,
jump everywhere.
that's the other thing. Like, the fight would just have been over. Like, all right, well, I'm gonna keep riding this down there. I guess we'll
Yeah.
meet somewhere else. Like,
Yeah.
we'll meet somewhere else and fight. Because like,
can't come
we're
over there.
we're still winning. Like, my side is still totally
Yeah,
winning.
Sidious is coming. So
Yeah.
Anyway, he goes, you underestimate my power. And he goes, don't try it. And he goes, well, I'm going to try it. And so he flips and then gets his legs cut off.
And arms.
in the
and
exact
arms.
way I wanted
gets
Darth
everything cut
Maul to
off.
kill Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Somehow, he cuts everything off. All of his limbs are cut off in one foul swoop. In one stroke.
Fingers everywhere.
Everything.
Toes.
And, then
then
he just fucking
And then-
leaves him
oh,
to slowly burn to death.
He looks at him and says, you were my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
No, he didn't. Say it how he said it, Nick.
You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you.
Thank you.
Really? Did you?
I like that Anakin was like, I told you so many times. I saw you like a father.
And then Anakin
I don't know. I
starts
just to give credit where credit's due. I like Ewan's performance.
No,
So-
I'm not a
but-
fan
but
of that.
here's the
They don't
problem
build.
with this
They
scene.
don't build up to it.
I like
no,
that.
I,
I like the
yeah,
performance.
I like it.
I'm down with the performance. It was just, it's like
So okay,
Empty.
Tim, let's do some role playing.
Okay,
here,
let's
right?
go.
You and I have been friends for a very long time. We started a business together. Everyone's happy. Yada yada yada. It's our livelihood. You betrayed me.
Yes.
Okay, but I still love you. I just admitted as much. You were my brother. I loved you, and I probably still have some feelings for you. But you are slowly now lighting on fire, and you are screaming bloody fucking murder. And what am I gonna do? I have two options. One,
Mercy
kill you as a mercy kill, and also kind of has the
person you
added
love.
benefit of
Knowing that you're dead.
knowing that you're fucking dead and you're
Yeah.
not going to come back to kill me, or slowly walk away like a Bond villain,
Yeah.
thus
And
ensuring
take
that
your-
you're going to get out.
and take his weapon.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Make
like,
sure he takes his
I'm
weapon.
just gonna take that.
what a weird way to end it.
I mean, they were like, we're running out of runtime. We got to get a couple things in place.
We got to get into Darth Vader. We have to see the element. Anyway, dumb.
Can you imagine the moment he found out? Oh fuck! Do you hear Darth Vader's still alive?
And Obi-Wan's like, off.
I knew I forgot something.
Oh wow, really? Like,
Like he was really burned.
no way.
Yeah.
So
Are you
Anakin-
sure? It was like the same dude.
And then Anakin goes back to the ship, and Padme, who I forgot to mention that he force choked Padme the fuck out earlier.
But it really didn't seem that bad.
No, it doesn't. But she's like out of it. She's like, I've never had that.
So many
happen to me
elements here.
before.
1, 9 months pregnant. So
Yeah.
even not that bad, really bad. 2, where the fuck did this come from that he would choke her?
I don't know.
I don't care how angry he is.
She wasn't that. I watched it back. I was like, was she pregnant? Because I don't think the bump was that big.
No,
The
she gets
costume
really
design
big,
was
but-
pretty poor, but she does have
That
the
last
bump.
moment,
With
you
twins,
like,
9 months pregnant with twins. She's like a fucking size 4 still. Back on the ship, Padme asks if Anakin's all right, and Obi-Wan's like, "Yeah, we just went to a barbecue." Sidious lands.
that was good, Nick.
Sidious
That
lands
was
on
good.
Mustafar and collects what's left of Anakin, who is somehow still alive. Obi-Wan meets up with Jimmy Smits, and together they take Padme to the medical center, where, despite being in perfect health, she's dying because she's lost the will to live. If we don't act fast, we'll lose the babies too. And then someone goes, "Babies?" And Obi-Wan goes, "Yeah, she's pregnant with twins." Meanwhile, on Coruscant, Anakin is having an operation of his own to become a badass. Padme names the
It
twins.
looks so painful.
Yeah. Padme names the twins Luke and Leia, while Vader gets the finishing touches, and we hear him breathe for the first time. Mask goes on.
And that's as Padme is dying, which
Yeah.
is cool.
It is cool.
It would have been cool.
She gave up the will to live.
Fucking dumb.
This might be the stupidest
So
decision.
dumb.
That and Anakin being just born of the Force. The two dumbest fucking decisions they could have possibly made.
Well, it's really sad too, because you're like, we didn't. It's believable that she would have been killed or died later. Why did we have to have her die now? And we know we have that line where Luke goes, "Do you remember anything about your mother?" And she goes, "Yeah, not much. She died when I was really young, but I do remember her." And so it's like, why would you even have her die? Like, she's not going back to Anakin. We would have been so much crazier for her to
Yeah,
be like,
but
I have these 2 kids, and this guy's a fucking nightmare.
But they
I
wouldn't
have to run
split
away
them
from
up.
him now.
They wouldn't have split them up, right?
Well, they could have split them up. Like, I'm saying they didn't have to explain why they got split up. She could have just had them named
But
them Luke
that's
and
the
Leia,
thing.
and that would have been
They
it.
did. The way George Lucas makes these movies, he's like, if I don't fucking explain this, no one will understand.
So Padme names the twins Luke and Leia while Vader gets finishing touches, and then with her dying breath, Padme tells Obi-Wan that there's still good in Anakin, despite every single evidence to the contrary. And Obi-Wan's like, sure, whatever. Just hurry up and die so we can get this
He
movie.
doesn't believe that.
Nope.
Luke believes
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
You know, he literally was just like, she's wrong.
Yeah, she's super
The
wrong.
youngling.
Not only that, but we know he doesn't believe it because at no point in the trilogy, before he dies, does he go, "Hey, they're still good in
No.
Anakin." No, he's
No,
like,
no.
"Fucking guy's evil." Sidious
We
speaks
need
to
to bring
Vader.
this pregnant woman to lay down somewhere. Luke, lay it down there. That's like, that's what I'll call my kids.
Yeah,
Because I'm solo.
like Luke over there
alone.
and Leia that one down
You don't
there.
have to explain it.
Yeah,
we got it.
Like Luke over there.
Yeah.
Really,
It
really
was
quick
good.
though.
I love that Nick's mind is like, that's so good. I want to make sure people get
I'm
it.
gonna take credit for
Let me
that one.
expand upon this.
Don't they retcon the thing where it's really Palpatine killing Padme, like through the Force or some shit?
Oh, there's theories.
Yeah.
There's theories.
I'm sure they do in I'm sure they do in the comics. Just like
Yeah.
the whole Anakin being born of the Force, like that stuff is kind of retcon
All
later on.
Palpatine's
We
it
saw
was
some shit.
stupid when it happened in the movie.
Yeah.
So here's what happens next. Sidious speaks to Vader for the first time as he like lifts him up,
Right.
and Vader asks, "Padme, what happened to Padme?"
Why is the voice immediately fucking James Earl Jones?
I don't know.
Like,
And then
Modulator, man.
Sidious says, "Hey, in your anger, you accidentally killed her. Now, what if she hadn't died? How does he know she died? He doesn't know.
Doesn't fucking matter.
He doesn't know. It does matter because what if she had fucking lived? And
She
he would-
wouldn't have gone back to
He would have
him.
been like, I lied to him. And then Vader would be like, wait, she's not dead? That could have been a big deal. You take it. I'm just saying, a big gamble by saying you killed
Yeah.
her, right? Big gamble. But it pays off because Vader breaks off like
pays
fucking
off.
Frankenstein and screams, "No!" And then the whole room starts to like crumble around him, which I actually would have been a really cool effect.
it's also weird seeing like a thinner Vader,
Yeah.
like a little sleeker Vader.
A friend, I forget who, but they always said that the scene would have been so much cooler and more in character for Vader if it wasn't the cringy like no, but if he just like closed his fist and everything, just like no sound or anything, just all the machines and stuff like broke down.
Yeah.
Like that would have been cool.
The one part I liked about this scene was the use of sound design and the shot of his helmet actually coming on for the first time, where it's like really quiet, and then you hear the
And you see
and then
the
you
smoke.
the smoke, and you hear the breathing. It's like that was cool, but
Yeah.
then there was a lot.
No,
more.
you know what? Oh my god, I am a liar. I did see this in theaters. Because I remember that scene in theaters.
And everyone laughing.
Good job, Andy. Yoda orders the twins to be split up for their own safety, and Jimmy Smits offers to take the girl to raise with his wife
On Alderaan.
and the boy on Alderaan, which makes sense because you're like, oh, that's cool.
Totally.
She gets a new last name, total new identity. Nobody knows that it's her, except that no one remembers his wife being pregnant or whatever. And Jimmy Smits very, very, very present in the Senate, and everyone was like, "Where'd you get that kid from? That's weird."
Well, I mean, he just said he adopted a girl. Like
That's
he,
fair.
You know, he's like, we were
big
thinking about
galaxy.
adopting.
Adopted.
Yeah.
It's a big galaxy.
Don't want the boy though. I want to make that clear.
Yeah, don't want the boy.
Just the girl.
Don't want the boy. But the boy, let's hide him. This is the genius,
Where?
the master stroke.
Where?
Plain sight.
Yes.
Right? What if we took this kid that no one's supposed to know about and put him in the home of the guy that wants him back? And he's already been there, where his family and his lineage and his last name, all that stuff's
Also,
there.
are
Let's do
they
that.
his family? Like,
here's-
he's the stepbrother, right? That wasn't Shmi's son, right?
Yeah, it's all
So it's
through
just like
marriage.
really, it's this family that bought
Loose ties.
Shmi as a slave.
Which
then
makes
he
sense,
fell
right?
in love with her, married her, and it was like, okay, that's the family that is now adopting this kid. Okay,
Sure.
cool.
And they seem real happy about it, even though they're like, wait a minute, you want us to take this kid in at our own peril. And if
I'm sure this
if
won't get us killed.
Darth Vader finds out about it, it could lead to us being dead. Cool. Here's what we should do. We're going to rename this kid. No. His last name has to be Skywalker. Why? Why would my last name's not Skywalker? We've already established I am not a part of this family. It's Ben Smith is what I am. How about we call him Luke Smith? No. It's got to be Skywalker.
Here-
Okay.
Cool. Give me the baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck out of here.
That is an insane fucking choice. And then, what are the droids up to?
Bonkers. Oh, well, by the way, the droids, we got to just wipe their memories.
Okay.
But only C-3POs for some reason.
Well,
Not
R2D2 doesn't talk. C3PO
Right.
keeps being like, "Where's Anakin?
All right,
Where's
everyone
Anakin? The guy who
understands.
But
created
everybody
me."
understands
Everyone
R2.
understands
He does talk.
R2. It's so weird.
And then we see a dope shot of Vader joining the Emperor on the bridge of a newly made Star Destroyer for the first time, and it looks exactly like the ones we've seen before. Remember those we've seen before?
No.
These are them. These are the ones we've seen before. And then over on Tatooine, Owen...
we see the building of the Death Star, which a lot of people give shit. I think is cool.
Yeah, this is a cool moment.
What happens?
is terrible.
Where they're seeing the building of the Death Star.
Owen
being
is seeing the
built
building
outside.
of
And
death.
then we
No,
see
no,
CGI Tarkin too.
When they're on the bridge,
Yeah,
they look over.
Yeah, I think it's so cool.
Let's see. Jimmy Smith flies to Alderaan and introduces Jon Snow to his wife. And then over on Tatooine, Obi-Wan drops off Luke to Owen and Beru, who seem really happy that this whole thing is, oh, look at that. We've always wanted one of these little bundles of joy. And they look out over the sunset as they smile, not knowing that one day they'll be burned alive. The end.
Honestly, the worst part of this end is it's the bird alive right there. But the music is so lame and
Yeah.
it's like
Yep.
such a bad interpretation of the theme. And this is supposed to swell us with emotion and
Yeah.
feeling, even if you don't like what's going on. That's such an easy win. Hey, we're recreating that fucking scene.
Because at the time, we thought this was it.
And exactly.
And
And
this
then
is
it
what
just
we
goes to
ended
the and you're like, all right, turn this shit off.
Yeah,
like I'm
it's the
fucking
same
out.
pose. It's looking at the two fucking suns, and there's no music. That's cool. It was such a loss.
Such
yeah.
a loss, man.
You're right. It was a very easy win.
Episode 1. Best musical transition. I'm giving it. All right, so here we are. Let's do the fucking haiku and review.
7 syllables in the middle. You need 5 for the first and last line. If you're not poetic, no need to fret it. Haikus don't need to rhyme. These movies are done. Let's move the fuck on.
Which awakens this next.
Yeah.
Party McFly says, you can go to patreon.com/kindoffunny to write your review in haiku form. Party McFly says, who was the Phantom? Attack of the Clones, lame name. Sith, revenge for what?
Them taking over.
That's a really strong point.
Let's see. Andy Max says, you are my brother. We see Vader's choking hand. Twins got no mother. Oh, Vader's choking hand. That's
Oh,
a reference to the
back.
Ragu Bagu thing. Ignacio Rojas coming in fucking hot.
You got lit right there.
Best of the series. You know it to be true. Search your feelings, people.
What?
That's good.
If
There's
you're
no
telling
way-
the series a prequel, then
He-
maybe.
I think
Yeah.
he means the prequel.
Yeah, sure.
I hope so. I
There's
hope
no
so.
way.
Yeah.
Sneecher says General Grievous went out like a little bitch. He deserved better.
I don't
I
know.
don't know that he did.
He went out like a motherfucking badass. Dude,
But that is true. That's
fucking
almost metal
flames
and
coming out
ever.
of his eyeballs.
The most metal.
Chloe
You're still in
fucking-
costume?
Like pops her head in.
Jesus Christ.
She is inside Grievous right
Man,
now.
she
Where,
fits
where,
it.
where do we get that
it like
child's
that?
fucking?
I drunkenly
small
ordered it. I
Grievous
drunk it.
costume?
It fits her perfectly. What do you mean small?
Perfectly.
Yeah.
It looks like we're wearing denim leg warmers.
Oh,
here.
I didn't see the
Let's
legs.
see it again. Let's see it again.
I didn't see the legs. Okay. Fits your body right.
I love
Tight
it.
costume.
I love it.
Yeah, not great.
Hey, it's
Don't
pretty
flex,
cool
dude.
though.
Break out of that
Yeah.
thing. Put the
Lucas
mask on though if you're gonna come on set next time.
Lucas Kerr says,
And cough, please.
execute order 6-6. Younglings hiding, shitting bricks, killed by laser stick.
Oh, that's good.
close.
yeah. Let's see.
Wait, who was that?
That was Lucas Kern.
Oh, well.
And then let's go Tensa. I'll let you read this one, Andy.
Long live the Empire. Padme is so heartbroken. Anakin, do it.
All right, Ragu Bagu.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm the host of this series of Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys. I'm joined by all of my co-hosts, everybody in the goddamn room, and we are ranking the bad guys of the Star Wars universe. Right now the rankings are, oh my god, what did I write for the last one?
Oh no.
Rank whatever, 6th or 5th. Dooku, Jango, Annie, CG, Lucas. Oh, we ranked the CG as really, really bad.
I think
That's
Lucas
right.
has also just become a villain in this whole thing.
Gotcha.
He really has.
Maui, Palpatine, Tark, Vader, Vader's choking hand, and number 1 is Bubble Tea, which is Boba Fett and Palpatine. Where do we rank?
This is Palpatine and Vader.
Yeah, and Anakin, I would imagine, because Anakin's
Well,
kind of the bad
guys,
guy.
there were heroes on both sides.
There were heroes on
There's
both
also, but
sides,
there's evil everywhere.
which means there's villains on both sides.
I'd say the
Yeah.
Jedi Council because they're all so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Mace Windu.
Like, they brought this upon themselves.
Yeah.
I'm gonna throw this out there.
Please do.
Now, this entire podcast series is because of Tim. So maybe Tim is the ultimate bad guy
Wow.
Yeah.
on this list for making
like
us
that.
watch these prequels and making me cry with
I think
what
we
could
should
have
save.
been.
I think we should save that to see if the last movie is terrible.
Oh, good point, Tim.
Yeah.
You might rank
Now
number
does-
1, but for now, you're safe.
Now, does Grievous bring up Vader? Like, does he bring Vader and...
No, he sure doesn't.
No.
He sure doesn't.
Again,
Grievous is so hilariously stupid. Just so what a stupid
He's pretty
character.
bad.
that I mean, like, you can't tell if this guy's serious or
How
kidding
much
around.
screen time did he get? 10 minutes?
5 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
Oh my
I mean,
God.
it's,
I'm
this-
I
sure
was
they sold a
expecting her
lot
to
of
pop in
toys.
and be like 17 minutes.
14
have-
minutes and 18 seconds.
so we have Sidious, Dooku, Anakin,
Dooku's not a bad guy in this.
and Grievous.
Yeah, he is.
Dooku's
Dooku?
He
yeah.
gets decapitated.
He kidnaps
loses
the
very
Chancellor.
quickly.
He's still a pawn of the
He
Chancellor. so
broke
he's a bad guy.
Obi-Wan's hip.
I think
Yeah.
it should be Sidious and Vader. I think that's
Sure, let's go with that. And I'll
Wait,
put him
hold on.
dead
I have,
fucking
I have a
last.
question about Dooku because I've always understood it differently. Dooku
Dooku.
didn't capture Palpatine.
No,
it
that
was
was
Grievous.
that was a Grievous. That was a
But
plan.
Dooku was
Yeah.
hanging out with.
Well,
Grievous.
nobody captured Palpatine.
Yeah,
Palpatine
Dooku-
captured himself.
Dooku
I think that
is aware
Grievous-
that Palpatine is Sidious, right?
Yeah.
Dooku is
Okay,
Sidious's
okay, cool.
Padawan.
Yeah.
Is his
Yeah.
apprentice.
Sidious is, but does he know that Palpatine's the same
Pretty
guy?
sure he
He
Yeah.
must fucking
Okay, cool.
know
Good.
that they're the
he's
same.
the one who said it in 2, where he's like, oh, someone in the Sith has taken over the galaxy essentially, and y'all did it like it all happened.
Which was a
underneath
lie,
the-
because he was like, "Oh, I'm trying to fight against that," but really,
Yeah, he was
The
really
whole
completely
first scene was just a
under
red
it.
herring to get the Senate to think that there's worse consequences.
I'm gonna say last. Whatever the bad guy in this movie is,
I'll
I'll
agree with you
last.
just to end this.
So you're going to put them last below Dooku, Jango,
Yeah.
Fuck.
Anakin?
You know what?
No,
second
You're
to
right.
last,
Second to
second to
last.
last. Yeah.
Second
I'll
to
agree
last.
with that
Yeah.
because I want it to end.
Grievous isn't even in it.
Yeah, he's not even a part of it. He's not even a part of it. Useless.
Because a lot of people say he's a hero.
Heroes on both sides.
Heroes on both sides.
Sidious and Vader?
Yeah.
Also, it's kind of fucked up to rank someone with lung cancer. You know what I mean? Like, don't put him on the list.
Yeah.
The guy's dying of lung cancer.
I put
This is all
Sidious
for sure.
Vaxxer, and that's what it's staying as.
Can you
There we
put
go.
3
There
at
we
the
go.
end so that we like?
Oh,
have
yeah.
some
Now it's time to
understanding?
rank the Star Wars universe.
cool.
The current rankings are as follows. Number 1, The Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, A New Hope. Number 3, Return of the Jedi. Number 4, Phantom Menace. Number 5, Attack of the Clones.
This is barely number 4.
Barely.
Barely number 4.
Yeah, I
Like,
agree with that.
I again, going into this, I thought that it was like miles better than all the other movies.
not.
And it's still bad, but I do still kind of barely, almost slightly, tiny amount enjoy
Tiny, minuscule.
the final sequences, the whole betrayal and all that shit. But man, a lot of everything leading up to those moments. I'm just thinking like, holy shit, this is equally as bad as Attack of the Clones and Phantom Menace.
There's a part during the final lightsaber battle where they're standing before they go out onto above the lava, not when they're floating on the lava, but before, where they just spin each other's lightsabers at each other. That's what this movie is. It's just two assholes spinning lightsabers at each other and not actually making contact with anything
Sometimes
relevant.
one asshole spinning lightsabers,
Yeah.
two lightsabers.
Also, at a certain point, I'm like, hey guys, I get it. It's really fun to twirl your lightsaber like that, but let's never fucking do that again. Because if I see one more goddamn Jedi doing that, I'm gonna lose my shit on you. Stop it.
Yeah.
It's a fucking laser sword.
Barrett, what are your thoughts on this?
I still really enjoyed this movie. All of your criticisms are totally fair. Like, I have criticisms of it. General Grievous, just terrible, terrible character in this movie. In the show, great. But the actual fundamental, like, what this movie is, act by act, is what this trilogy should have been. First act, it's a kind of fun space adventure where they're going on a mission and you see them like kind of build a friendship, and that's what the entire first movie should have been. And the second movie should have been like this questioning. Obi-Wan and Anakin get separated and they're on their own like missions, and that's where like Anakin kind of gets taken over by the dark side. And then at the end of the second movie should have been where he turns, and the entire third movie should have been about like Obi-Wan's struggle to go off and face Anakin. And that's like there was
God damn.
we've said throughout
Someone really likes Grievous too.
we've said throughout the last three movies, like, there's cool ideas here and there's little hints, and this is the one that had the most, I would say,
I agree.
of fundamentally what this story should have been, and that's why I still really enjoy it. I really enjoy Ewan McGregor in this movie. Like, again, it's not great. It's not even good. I think it's a okay movie.
There's a lot of good concepts. A lot of good concepts.
Exactly.
My thing with it though is like, shit, man. I liked the pod race. I liked Maul a lot. Those elements to me are cooler than anything in this movie. Like, still somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like this one had more that I enjoyed. I didn't enjoy it as much as those elements, but more overall. But
Yeah.
still, it's number 4. All right. Does anybody who thinks it's better
You just made
than
an executive decision on that.
Yeah. Well, what do you think, Nick?
I mean, it's we're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
Really, they're all just utterly terrible, with some interesting elements sprinkled in there.
How are there still Star Wars fans? Like,
I
after
mean,
this
right?
trilogy?
It's so crazy. It's so crazy.
I mean, they did have to
like we still love Star Wars.
they did have to like dial it back for a couple of years, right? Like, after this movie, I don't feel like we really got to see a lot of stuff until 2008 when the Clone Wars started, right? Like, there's definitely where we're like, all right, fuck, we really fucked this up. We got to like let go.
there's video games in that
My
time.
dream,
Yeah, I don't know
my
that's
dream, right?
What's your dream, Andy? Tell me
Fucking
your dream.
Emperor of the world, right? I was gonna say President Trump, but just any world leader puts up a giant Men in Black light, red light, right? It zaps all of our
Yup.
memories.
Oh my God, it's so
and
cool.
then they recreate all of the prequel trilogy, like
know. I want
with
that
good
so badly.
storytelling, with good characters, with awesome actors,
But
right?
why
Like,
not-
imagine
why
if
not
they got-
just recreate all of it. Why not just be like, hey, Star Wars, good idea, good concept. 4, 5, and 6 are great, but like,
No, but the original trilogy is good. Why change that? I mean, like
I
the
just 'cause,
prequels,
like,
they're
they
so
put 'em in a
fundamentally
box.
terrible.
Yeah.
Like every part of them is so bad.
So
that I think-
bad.
Like, can you imagine, Nick?
If they retconned, I'd love
Let me
that.
tell you, Zac Efron shirt off. How about that?
No.
I mean, I want that all the time. You put that next to a
just
full
want his shirt
bag
off,
of
really.
snack
Yeah,
size.
that's really it. All right, who thinks that Revenge of the Sith is better than Attack of the Clones? Raise your hand. Everyone raises their hand. Who thinks it's better than Phantom Menace? Raise your hand.
Man, I'm gonna put my hand down.
Yeah,
Man,
I'm
straight
gonna
up,
put my hand down too,
straight
because
up.
I like Maul a lot. I thought that battle
Barrett's
was
hand
cool.
straight up. We fucking win.
I got 2 of them.
Wow, that's crazy, guys.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised by this.
It's
but
it just sort of
I
hit me
just
right
like
now.
there's
Y'all
so
crazy.
much of this
Y'all
movie
crazy.
where it's just two characters telling the audience what they should be seeing, and it's so fucking boring. But you're right, like the end of it, like there are some emotional moments. You're like, oh, that the 66 stuff is really sad. I don't know.
So Nick and
The third
Andy,
act is fairly
Nick and
strong.
Andy did not agree, but me, Barrett, and Kevin push it to number 4. Who thinks it's better than Return of the Jedi? Raise your hand. No one raised their hand. The new ranking of the Star Wars universe is number 1. Empire. Hey, there's rules here.
what's wrong with
Empire
you?
Strikes Back, 2, A New Hope, 3, Return of the Jedi, 4, Revenge of the Sith, 5, Phantom Menace, 6, Attack of the Clones. We are going to be reviewing Episode 7, The Force Awakens, this Friday, actually, because we are trying to do reviews of The Mandalorian when it comes out. There are 2 Mandalorian episodes next week. stay tuned for scheduling on that because we don't know exactly the times of when things are going to drop and all that. But our plan, if it drops at midnight on Monday night going into Tuesday, would be for the Tuesday morning show to be our review of The Mandalorian.
Can I ask a question?
What's up, Nick?
Who are you?
I love you. Bye.